Press start.
We have a lot of games to talk about, so we have to start the episode. 164. My name is Tim. I'm going to go in this direction. Derek, welcome.
Yay. How you doing?
Kyle, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, your shirt kind of matches that space scene to
Yeah.
the right there. a
They're
little
both
bit.
space shirts, so
Well, that makes sense then, space and
yeah.
space. And speaking of space, we got Pizza Planet over here. What's up, Jeff? Love that shirt too.
Hello.
He's in
Hello.
space too.
And welcome to Jeff Phone. Yeah.
That's definitely a Toy Story reference, right? Is my
Pixar.
brain?
This is in every Pixar movie. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just Toy Story. Okay, got it. It's in every Pixar movie.
It's in the background somewhere. It's in every Pixar movie. But yes, it was primarily featured in Toy Story. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And
Scott,
Dan, welcome.
You just got actually, Tim.
I did get actually.
Got actually.
Listen, we actually each other in love around here. That's how
I
we
didn't
do it.
mean to actually. It's just an interesting factoid. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize for being smart. Don't do that. Okay, you embrace that.
Just be brave.
He Googled it.
I did Google it, but it was like years ago that I Googled it and then I changed it.
And it stayed
Yeah.
because my brain works the way that human brains are supposed to. Got it. I got it. I understand. All right. So we have been talking about for weeks how we're coming on to this big wave of games. Like it's on the way. Here comes the wave. And so this is kind of the first deluge of games that we've gotten. And unfortunately, a lot of these smaller games that I thought I'm kind of interested in, unfortunately, a bunch of them are hitting pretty hard. And I'm like, crap, there's a lot of really fun games. And there's even a couple that I didn't know were coming out this week that we'll get to as well. So yeah, it's just been a very busy but fun week. And so we're going to go through all the new games that are out. There's a few headlines because Nintendo had a kind of a smaller presentation. Ubisoft, Capcom, a few others shared some news. So we'll go through some news and then we'll close it out with just kind of opening it up with anything you're playing, watching, thoughts on the finale of Mandalorian and so on. So let's dive right in. I'm going to go, because I have these listed here, but I'm going to go alphabetical, I think, just to give some kind of order to this. So we're going to kick things off with a game that came out today. We're recording this on Friday, the 21st of April. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp dropped today.
How did it?
And yeah.
Nice.
It'd be funny if they would have released it on the 1 year anniversary of the war. They're like, we're gonna give the war one exact year before we release this game.
Right.
No, they waited a little bit extra. They gave it a year plus. So yeah, this game is out. I think it might just be Kyle and I on this one. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'll play it eventually because that's exciting.
Yeah. Kyle, what are your thoughts on this? You've played the old Advance Wars, right? So what is this? What is this like jumping back in for you?
It was cool. The graphics immediately threw me off, even though I've seen the trailers, and not in a bad way. Just like, they really changed up some things of how, especially like the in-game graphics look. But I do also like the facelift, like all the character talking heads, kind of got as well. Man, this game is super cool, and it just feels good to like be playing something like this again. Because I don't know, what was it, DS the last time like Advance Wars came out?
Yeah, I think
they took a shot at it one more time, and they were like, "Yeah, this is done."
I think Days of Ruin. What might have been the last
sounds
one?
right. That sounds right. But yeah, this one's got 1 and 2. These are pretty long games if I remember correctly. But also, games always felt long to me when I was a kid. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember exactly how long it was. But to get 2 like complete games, and I mean, these are remakes. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's it's like from the ground up graphic wise completely remade. So that's pretty cool. Obviously there's a little bit of voice acting and stuff like that now. That's pretty cool as well. And it's just like I like Fire Emblem a lot, but I'm now remembering that this is way more tactical than Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Just because you have like units that are just for ferrying people around and stuff like that.
That's right.
And they don't really do anything else but that, So it's just like there's a lot of extra defensive and offensive mechanics like in this game that I feel like are not available in Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem kind of has their own kind of thing going on as well. But like, yeah, I've been really enjoying this. I did all the tutorial stuff in like the first, I think, 3 missions. So I'm not like terribly far into it. I think I'm 5%, I think it said, in terms of my progress. Yeah. But I've been liking it. How far have you gotten, Tim?
Just a little farther than that. I just beat the mission where you fight against the sniper guy who can extend
cool.
his ranged units really far, which is very annoying. I forgot how annoying that is when he activates that power. When you think you've positioned the units on this grid battlefield just out of reach of all his rockets and artillery, and then he activates that power, and then they all extend by 2 blocks each, and it's like, well, okay, now I'm screwed because they're that's just for 1 turn, but still, he manhandles you if you're not careful. But they do have a casual mode, which is really cool. They make it so your units will do more damage, enemies do less. They're not quite as smart with their, placement. It's if those of you who haven't played it before, it is a grid turn-based strategy RPG. I would actually say the RPG elements are lighter. It's a strategy game, but you don't do a whole lot of
Fire Emblem.
You don't do. I don't know if you do any gearing or leveling up in this one. I don't think there's anything like that.
I think you get what you get at the beginning of every turn. It's
like,
this is what you have, and it's like, okay, well, these are my pieces that I have to work with this.
Yeah.
So like it kind of simplifies it in that way, but I feel like it's deeper in a lot of other ways. But yeah, I forgot about that. All that stuff is like,
So
there
it's
are
like
no leveling up mechanics.
Chess match.
It is like a chess match. Yeah. Like, because you'll have rockets that do incredible damage from a distance, but they're so weak. Like, and they can only fire 3 blocks or further away from them. So you have to keep them surrounded with infantry or tanks to keep them protected while they're shooting. Like, it's things like that where you're managing your units. I think it's a really fun game. The whole point of it is to essentially capture their headquarters or eliminate all the enemy combatants. There might be some other objectives in some story missions, but for the most part, that's how you win most matches. So like Kyle said, you can throw an infantry into a transport helicopter, and if you're smart about it and have the ability to do this, try to get them to the headquarters if it's not very well defended and take out the other side real quick. So it's a little bit of a almost I thought of, like, for some reason I thought of laser tag too, when like, you want to take out the other enemies, but also you can go to their little headquarters and shoot the base. And so anyway, and the idea is to capture cities, and every turn you get money for every city that you have, and then it costs you money to heal and to give ammo back to all your units if they're sitting on cities, or if they're sitting by an APC that can give them more ammo and stuff back.
And being in cities offer you like more defense. There's like terrain.
Terrain's a big deal.
So it's like you can be like up in a mountain while other people are down. Obviously, like higher ground has a better shots and damage and stuff like that. So it's like there's a certain level of like battlefield awareness that you got to have in terms of like the whole map whenever you're going into one of these missions. So it's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying it. I love like holding down a bridge. So you have to like funnel the tanks through the bridge, and like you have a unit right there to kind of stop them or whatever. Gives you a little bit of breathing room. It's one of the games where like immediately I was like, oh yeah, I remember how smart I felt as a little kid to like figure out these little kind of puzzles about how do I stop these people from advancing while trying to get my people where they need to be. So yeah, I'm really excited to be revisiting this, especially as a smarter gamer, as we were all talking about the other day. Just the skills of solving problems, stuff like that. I feel like this game's going to be a little more breezy for me.
Yep. And they do have fog of war on some maps where, you're going to want to use recon units that are like made out of paper. They die so quick and they're not very strong, but they uncover the map for you. Or like Kyle said, you get up on a mountain that uncovers more of the map. So they add some really cool little, pretty basic, but also just well done mechanics. Like, it's nothing that most people haven't seen in some kind of strategy game before. It's just done really well. I don't love the like little battle art style they went with. It looks fine. Like, it looks good. It's not like they did a poor job of it. That's not my favorite design type. There's something about the way the little army men look when they're actually fighting that I'm like,
kind of like toys.
Yeah, I don't love it.
I don't love it either. I kind of wish it leaned more into the like anime, like side if they're gonna go for a style,
Well, when the commanding officers, you have one commanding officer in charge of each army, and they have a special power that over time builds up and you can activate it. But their animations look great, like especially when they activate their power. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I wish everything looked like that animation.
Yeah.
Saturday morning cartoon, like.
Maybe the Game Boy, because these were Game Boy Advance games. Maybe they couldn't fully handle that. Like
they were. I mean,
but this is remade though.
Like this is completely remade. Yeah, this is not pixel art at all anymore.
Sure.
they chose to go this way.
You know, it almost
fine.
has
That's
like
their choice,
Small Soldiers, or like what was that little green Army Men game they made? The Army
Men.
Yeah,
just Army
Men. It's called Army Men. Okay, like a little bit of that kind of vibe, like toys, like Kyle said. So, but they do have a lot of awesome extras too. Of course they have both games, but you can't access the second game. I don't know when it unlocks, but I guess you have to complete a certain amount of the first game, if not, maybe all of it. I don't know.
They literally
I don't know either. Actually, it sucks. Like, what if you were like, I'd already played 1 1,000 times and never played 2. Let me just jump right into 2. It's
I'm not sure if it's. It might be a thing where they want you to get to a certain point in the first game, because the whole first part of the campaign is kind of tutorial. They're teaching you different elements, introducing new units with each fight. And so eventually a story thing happens and it becomes like, okay, now we're teamed up against this much bigger threat in the first game. Maybe then the second one opens.
It sounds like a very Nintendo thing to do. Like, no, we're going to tell you exactly how to play this.
You're going to play it when I say you're going to play it. It's very Nintendo,
but then, the better you perform in battles, so like finishing the battles quickly, not losing too many units, you get a high score, you earn coins, and then there's a store where you can buy collectibles, whether it's music to listen to, or it could be other commanding officers you can unlock, or maps. That's another thing that made this game pretty special, was they started to add the ability to play outside of the campaign so many different pre-made maps, either against a computer or against another player. And there's online matchmaking, and there's map designs. You can go build.
There's map design too.
You can build your own maps and share them online. So a lot of that's it's
pretty cool.
Very cool. A lot of depth if you really like.
There's a lot of stuff, content in this game, especially for two of these games. It feels good.
Yeah, but it is just straightforward turn-based strategy.
Yeah, it's no frills, but it's about like the essence of strategy.
That's it. Yep.
That's a big old pass for old Jeff here.
Yeah, Jeff looks extremely bored. Let's move on, everybody.
I want to dig back into the story of these characters. I'm just kidding.
What makes them tick? What makes them tick?
Yeah, what makes Andy want to serve this way? By the way, his wrench that he was fixing the bike with at the beginning, way too big. Way too big of a wrench.
It's like Sora's shoes big. It's ridiculous. Come on, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, man.
Yeah, the wrench. No one has a wrench that big. Why? Why would you have the wrench? Anyway.
Because, just because.
Just because. All right. So going alphabetically still here, in a very different vibe from this game, also released today, is Dead Island 2. And at least I think it came out today, right?
They're practically the same.
Pretty much the same. Yeah, I think so. I still think back to when stuff like Yoshi's Island and Doom or something like that came out on the same day. Like, it's so funny to me when these two totally juxtaposed game styles.
And then I ended up playing Yoshi.
Oh no, it was Animal Crossing. It was Animal Crossing.
Was it Animal Crossing? That's
yeah.
All right, so Dead Island 2, of course, we've, as a group, it seems like, as we've seen some of the previous stuff, we've started to get a little bit hopeful for, hey, maybe this will be pretty good. Reviews are coming off pretty positive, and a few of you guys are playing it. So tell me what you think about Dead Island 2.
Yeah, I think this game benefits from actually having that 9 years of development. And the reason I say that is very, very, very low expectations from all gamers, all games, media. Like, every review I watched, every one of them started out with like, well, with how terrible the development is, I had low expectations. But let me tell you, this game is awesome. And
so what you're saying is delay a game for 9 years and then
it'll all go great.
It's worked for Final Fantasy, right?
What I'm actually saying is what I've always said, and that's, if you have realistic expectations, you usually come out enjoying things in life better. Yeah. I think this game is so far, I'm not real far in. I'm fighting level 5 enemies. There's 6 characters you can choose from. Male and female in each kind of class. Like, there's a light, mid, and heavyweight classes, and you can pick a male or a female for each class. I went with lightweight. I picked Amy. She's cute and she's fast. So,
but it's first-person game.
The one with so each of the 6 have like a maxed out attribute and an attribute that is super low. Amy, I think, his agility is super, super high.
Got it.
Yeah.
But like critical damage or something like that is super, super low. So like
No, she can't take any, like, she dies, like, real fast.
But then agility,
I die a lot.
Slow. Yeah.
So with agility, does that mean you do a lot of dodging or just running, or what does that do for you? Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of, like, multipliers. Like I think the thing I just unlocked now is if you successfully time your dodge, it increases your attack damage. I think it does, like, a little bit of a slow-mo, too, if you nail it correctly. So it's a full-on. If you've played Dead Island, it's definitely a lot like Dead Island, like a lot like Dead Island. I just think they cleaned it up. They made this game look really good because even Dead Island. So Dead Island, again, it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. It rings true. The hype level for Dead Island is extremely high because of that initial trailer. Right. Which that initial trailer, not only did the tone of the game not match it, but graphically, if you go and play, you can't really do it now, but if you just remember, Dead Island was a letdown, like the way it looked. It was like very B level, like.
It came from the generation of browns and grays, as they called
it was like a double A. It was sold itself as a AAA game, but it came out like a AA.
A lot of those 360 era first-person shooter games had just a lot of muted and dark colors that just like didn't accentuate kind of.
It was not a pretty game. It didn't run real well. It had bugs and all that stuff. This one so far, not only does it look, I'm playing it on PC. I literally logged into my terrorist account on Epic to play this game. So every time I die, I get my like Egyptian name, like died. I'm like, okay, I don't know who that guy is. But
terrorist account.
Wait, what? What?
You might need to give some kind of context for this because no one knows what
did you buy it from one of those sites, those CD sites?
I bought it from where they tell you they're like, this is not a key to the game.
Sure.
This is a login to the game that already has the game on it, and it's like a Middle Eastern like login. They give you the email, so like if Epic asks you to input like a code or something, you can log into the email. So it's
and your descriptor was terrorist account.
Like a terrorist account. I'm logging into my terrorist.
Derek is
over there.
There it is.
Wrecking civilians and logging into Epic Games.
The FBI is going to be knocking on Derek's
door.
Derek
went away for about 3 months because they thought he was a terrorist.
I literally did this to save $20. That's how cheap I am.
Worth it.
Regular price, had it actually in my library and had no issues. But nope. Hey, I'll save $20. Let's just do it. But anyways, what I was trying to say is that this game is Dead Island, but it looks AAA.
Yeah.
It presents itself as AAA. It plays AAA. There's a lot of RPG elements that, again, that was in the first game, but I feel like this is going to be fleshed out better. Literally has a fleshed engine, which is probably, to me, the coolest thing about this game. I don't know how much you guys have watched on this game, but if you just sit there and you knock an enemy down, like you can kill them or whatever, and you just keep punching it, you'll watch the body, like, realistically, of course it's semi-exaggerated because it speeds it up, the process, but it realistically falls apart. Like, there's just a lot of things going on. Like, the flesh is all realistic. So if they're burning, you'll see their flesh melting. I was sharing in the chat that I was watching a guy play the game, and he punched a zombie in the face, and their eyeball popped out of the socket, and they just kept going forward. Their eyeball was just doing this, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is disgusting." And that's like to me that's the big selling point of this game is they took the Unreal 4 engine and then they added and they literally called it Flesh Engine, and that's their big selling point is that you can just mutilate these zombies realistically.
That attention to detail is fun, though. You know, I mean, that's kind of the point of it. It's supposed to just be dumb, gross, gnarly nonsense, like
something you've never seen before. Because there's so many zombie games out there, you know.
And of course, the first game, like the characters were over the top. Everything about the game was over the top. This game is that too.
Yeah.
But so far, I think a lot of them are interesting. Nothing. Again, you're not gonna play it and go, "Oh my gosh, this story has me hooked with the mystery."
Goaty story.
must unravel the mystery. I must know what's going on. What's going on? Why did this happen to LA? None of that's happening.
There's a mystery. The mystery is, why did this take 9 years to make? That's
yeah.
Also, why is it called Dead Island when California is not an island?
Because
they're quarantined
the mystery
off
of the game is California is going to separate and become an island. That's the ending.
Jeff, when I remember you and I, when the reveal, like the chunky slice of game that they released, what is it, like a 12-minute video?
Yeah, it was like an overview.
We were chatting about this, about like, is this game gonna be good? That looks just like, is this gonna be good? So like, you've played it a little bit. Is it delivering on what you saw from that?
I'm behind Derek. I'm like level 4. I just got to the actress's house at the beginning of the game. Like, I think every character, no matter who you pick, you end up on the same trajectory, the same campaign. You end up on a flight that crashes, and you're going through the wreckage, which is a great set piece kind of thing. And you encounter these people that are from LA. They're famous. One of them is really famous, and the other one works for them. And she's like, "Come to my house. We're running away now. You stay here with the survivors and try to help them, I guess." Obviously, that goes to hell, and you have to go to her house because it's a zombie game. That's it's supposed to go to shit. I chose what's his name, Jacob. He's like one of the first guys. I think he's like the most basic.
Is it that
characters. Guy? Yes, he's the black guy in the center.
Yeah.
He's one of the most basic like warrior type characters that you can pick, where he does a high amount of damage.
Yeah.
Right. So I went with him because he has a high amount of damage, and he has low. I think it's low max health, which I'm like, that's fine. I'll just replenish as I go along. And there's plenty to loot. There's so much to loot on the way. Like, I'm picking up protein bars and energy drinks all the time. So like, I'm fine with low max health.
Is there inventory issues with this game? With all the
no, only with weapons. You have a finite amount of weapon, like 6 weapon slots starting out. I don't know if you get more as you go along. So that's the only place where you have to kind of manage.
Well, let me say this. It's like 8 slots, but you can literally move it over. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have 20 weapons, you have 8 filling it, but for each one of them, there's 2 or 3 hidden behind it, and all you do is push the button over, and so you can set it to them. You're not having to go into a menu and then move it to your equipped items.
There's no like, you can't loot this because your inventory is full.
I guess I'm not there yet in the game because it told me when
you
my wheel
can
was full.
fill it up like if you get to like 20 items. But that's what I'm saying. I'm in the beginning of the game and I'm getting like 20 weapons. So I don't think it's an inventory issue.
Oh, weapons! Can you guys combine them together yet, or is that
not yet? I haven't done that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I've modded my weapons.
Modded. Okay.
I haven't done that yet. See, I've just been collecting resources that will help me mod.
You're about ready. You're about ready to mod.
I'm about to get there. Yeah. Because there's something's happening with zombies coming to the house that I'm at right now.
This is mod
and that's
racing.
where I stopped. But what I loved about it, Derek mentioned, is the kind of like the mutilation. I mean, this is the exact reason that you get a game like this, is the mutilation aspect of the flesh engine, I guess. I didn't really notice it in detail to the point that Derek did in the showcases or in my playthrough, but what I did love is having a sword. I found a sword somewhere, by the way, and in order to get to it, I found the alarm first, where if you break the glass, the alarm's going to go off, zombies are going to come at you. So I disabled the alarm first, and then I broke into the thing with the sword in it. And I've just been katanaing people, like, and it's been awesome watching their heads just completely fall off their neck.
Drop to the ground, start just slicing them. Watch how their skin just like opens up, their guts.
Yeah, because when you're in the middle of the melee, it doesn't really seem to affect them much unless you kick them back. Like, you kind of have to just keep swiping and kick them back when they start to attack you, or dodge, obviously. But I do love I just love the detail of like, that final killing blow just chops off their head completely. It's ridiculous. And I love the power-up stuff, too, that you mentioned, where I think the one that I just enabled was one where it was like, it wasn't time your dodge right, but I did have one of those options. They're kind of like cards that you select, kind of similar to Left 4 Dead or something like that. You like pick up little cards, and you only have a certain amount of slots you can put these cards in, and they grant you certain power-ups for certain skill levels. for certain attributes, I guess.
Are those like passive powers, or can you like activate some kind of ability?
No, they're passive. They'll just happen if you time a move right or whatever.
Okay, cool.
But they're not like press X and it'll do this. It's not
like BioShock where you're casting magic or something. It's like
I think eventually you unlock them.
Maybe eventually.
I think there's different. I think there's different cards. I think there's your passive like RPG, like hey, this. If you do this, now it does that.
Higher
but
critical
like,
chance or whatever.
Yeah, but I think later on you do unlock, because it is a full-fledged RPG, and I think they explained it in the beginning. They're like, you get these cards, and then you get these cards, and then you get these cards, and they all do different things.
Okay. Yeah, I think the one that I'm using now is like if you kick, I don't know, something about the timing of kicking them back, where I gain health back with each kick or something like that. And I, as somebody with a character with low max health, I need that. So I got that. And then there's like another one I got that you were already assigned, like right out the gate, depending on the character that you pick.
So is it a pretty big world that you're exploring? Is it pretty large?
Not yet, because it starts you off in Beverly Hills, and it's kind of like a sub map on the larger LA map.
Okay.
It's funny, the way that the game feeds you the information is you start with a star map. That's awesome. Like they hand out the tourists in LA, so it's kind of telling you here's where you are in Beverly Hills, and it's showing you like faces of famous people and where each house is. But then that's part of a larger LA map. I just haven't unlocked. I haven't gotten that far to where maybe I can explore all of the city if at some point. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But right now it's very linear, within reason. Like there's certainly rooms you can explore, doors you can unlock for loot purposes, but it's definitely like, here's a start of a mission. Now go do this thing. Your mission's complete. Do the next mission.
But the core thing they've built with the gameplay and the visuals sounds good. Like it sounds like they've.
It's not open world. It's like even later in the game. I don't think they ever go.
You don't think it ever opens up?
From the article I read.
So here's surprise number one. I'm actually 3 or 4 hours into this game because I ended up buying it.
And I was actually about to ask if Dan or Kyle had been playing.
And I can tell you, it's never open world. It is sectioned off areas that like
I appreciate that actually.
And I think that's helping with like the stability of the game. You know, the smaller scope means there's smaller opportunities for like all these bugs to happen.
Yeah.
I think that they did a really good job choosing that because the areas are still really big. I just got done in like a Hollywood Hills area.
Kyle, you did this just to see if we were lying.
Yeah,
like
you let us talk I actually wanted to come and prove you guys wrong.
Like, Derek, you really didn't play this game because that didn't happen. That's not even true. I played the game. I'm like,
your terrorist game isn't real.
Yeah, it's your terrorist. You're actually not even playing a real game, Derek.
I'm in the Middle East right now. Where are you? In LA.
Bring down your wallpaper. I want to see where you're at.
Kyle, one thing I've said a lot is that I don't love first-person melee stuff. How are you liking the combat with melee?
I mean, I like it because I do like first-person melee stuff. But I feel like where like Dying Light may have like too much going on, like with its combat, this is a little more simplified. But there's still more than going on than just like hitting R2 over and over again.
And maybe it's my character. I'm interrupting because I want to see if Jeff and Kyle agree. But my character's swings are extremely fast. Like she's like boom, 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 boom.
No, mine are pretty slow. I'm the sexy fireman guy, the fireman who's like a stripper. He's a
heavy.
He's a stripper.
So he's a heavy. I think he's a heavy.
He's block focused.
He's a Channing Tatum, is what you're saying. You chose the Channing Tatum.
I wanted a beefcake, so that's
okay. So my girl's really fast. So I was gonna say I actually like this combat because I feel like she's really quick and not super slow. Like
mine's with the heavier weapon, he takes a bit, but mine's medium.
In the middle because you're a warrior character,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But like, these areas are pretty big. Like again, that Hollywood Hills area that I'm in, like there was opportunity for multiple side quests, for a lot of deviations from just walking straight. It's not a hallway simulator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there are moments like it when it's trying to tell you a story and it kind of like focuses down or whatever. But like, in the moments that I've seen that kind of expand out a little bit, there's still hubs, you know, but they're sprawling enough where it's like, oh, there's some opportunities for exploration, you know.
But Kyle, we're supposed to hate that these games are not open world. We're supposed to only want open world.
Does anybody
games.
have a 60 FPS check on this game? You know, around with that.
I mean, we're supposed to hate Final Fantasy 16.
This game actually is
Well, but we all know Final Fantasy 16 is going to be a hallway simulator like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
That's just a given.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't give any modes on this game. They only gave 60 just so they didn't hear anybody whine and cry about it.
That was good of them.
Redfall.
Actually, kind of smart.
I've heard no crying. This game is really blowing me away. But like, it does feel like Dead Island, but like just a version of it that works. So
yeah,
good. That's good.
As someone who always wanted to enjoy that game, but was like always like struggling with like the issues with it. It's cool to kind of be playing, and same thing with kind of Dying Light and stuff like that too. The second one specifically for me, I know Derek, you really like that game. I really like the bones of that game, but I kind of still had some like issues with performance.
But you had issues.
Yeah, I had
like,
nothing
you
but
literally,
issues with that game.
You literally had to stop playing because the game.
Which would sour anybody's experience. But
Absolutely.
but this game is like performs really well. There's always going to be clipping issues, obviously, but like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like I haven't had any like stutters, stammers. I haven't had any like, this I have to restart this quest because this didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like it's and all the reviews I've read, it sounds like nobody's had any kind of weird
This feels weird.
bugs or anything.
I only had one thing.
The Homefront people made a good game. That's kind of strange.
I got stuck on the sofa. I killed a couple of like fat girls in bikinis, and then I was like,
I did too.
I can't move.
Same.
I'm stuck on a sofa. All right, cool. And I just
I'm stuck on a sofa.
Oh, so you have gotten stuck a couple times?
Just once.
Oh, just the once. Okay.
Jeff, earlier you were gonna say something. I don't know if it was your thought on the game.
No, it was just because Derek mentioned the platform he's playing on. Kyle, I assume you're playing on PS5 like I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And performance it looks great. It looks fantastic.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I was watching
and I have
Digital Foundry.
Like it's something I was really interested in.
It's running at 1800p at 60 frames per second on PS5. That's really good. That's really good.
Some good P.
Wow.
I sliced some zombies like belly open, like with a sword, and his intestines spilled out. That was pretty cool.
Oh my god,
that's the coolest thing I've done. And it was all.
I gotta start paying.
It was all
Flesh
dynamic.
Engine is awesome.
Because for
it
me,
it wasn't like a cutscene.
When I get, it's literally a cutscene. So when I get, because you got a bet. So when I get surrounded by zombies,
I didn't get the joke. Can you explain the joke? I didn't get the joke.
When I get surrounded, I can't really look at details of what's happening. I just go, push buttons, and I just, when they die, I go, okay, now I can breathe. And I just forget to pay attention to the graphical details.
I feel you.
Know? So I'm enjoying the combat though. Normally I struggle with first person melee games. I don't know if they give you guns at some point, but I don't care if they do or not. But this game has been very satisfying to watch, the melee.
Yeah. You do get guns, but there is complaints about the guns from every reviewer.
But that's also the same thing with Dead Island 1. It was like, guns suck in this game, but it's not what the game is.
But I really believe, and I'm not making an excuse, I really believe it's intentional. Like, yes, they work.
They want you to
aim
melee.
and fire, but this is a melee game.
Yeah,
it's all about building the most
guns
powerful
are specifically
melee.
for crowd control, and then
I just want that hammer, dude, that they were just sledgehammering people with.
Pretty
that
cool.
Crazy.
I was using that kind of early on, and like eventually they'll just what do you call it, stumble or whatever, they'll fall, and you have the option of doing like a kill shot, and when you do that with a hammer, it's just like right on their head, it just explodes. It's so good.
Game's really good, man. It's a fun.
I'm extremely surprised because I was not gonna buy this game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
give a toot about this.
I think
Dan, you and I think, are the only ones holding out on this one, right? You haven't bought it.
I have it pre-ordered, but it's like, again, like I want to get.
You can pick it up, right? You can pick it up now.
Well, I didn't pay it off. I didn't pay it off. That's the thing.
Oh, where did you pre-order it?
That game's.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a brick and mortar guy.
They have it $5, and they're not giving it back.
Respect your local GameStop, everybody.
Although funny though, people always act when I worked at GameStop that was the case. It's like, but you're gonna keep my money. It's like, it's not how it works, you moron.
That's not how it works.
I think this is gonna be one, and I could be wrong, but I think the year we still won't be out of 2023 when there'll be some incredible sales on this in some platforms down the line.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Tim, I got an incredible sale. I got an incredible.
You got a jump through hoops weird terrorist account that like it's just weird, dude.
They got
died.
Dude, you gotta change your Skype name to your new Egyptian name or whatever it is.
I would be surprised if it's not on Game Pass at some point, honestly. I don't know why this game strikes me as a successful It could be a huge success on Game Pass, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's gonna sell really well because I think the word of mouth is really good. I think people are buying, people are streaming, the marketing's really good. Like I feel like it's gonna be like it's gonna be an NPD.
I think it's gonna do I think it's gonna do like what Dying Light did. Like when Dying Light came out, I won't say nobody cared about it, but it was not like something people were like, "Ooh, can't wait for Dying Light." They were more like, "Oh, it's made by the people who did Dead Island. I don't know about this." And then it came out and shocked people by how good it was. Yeah. It became a big hit, and it's actually, I look at it, I could be wrong, I look at it as a game that really launched other developers and publishers to go, we can release games in January, February, we can release them 12 months a year.
Yeah.
So that was I feel like this is going to have that same success, even though it's coming out in a very busy window. I still think it's going to have great success because, like Kyle said, that Flesh engine is a really big selling point, and it's great for making videos. And all the content I was watching today was all about how, look at how I killed this guy. Look at how cool this is. Look at how great this engine is. Look at how well it runs. All that positive feedback is going to spread.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other games like it out right now. Not even just zombies, but even just first-person melee focus. I don't think are there other ones out right now.
Speedstorm's a lot like it. I mean, they're very similar.
So it has the advantage of kind of being like, hey, if you want your zombie fix, if you want first-person crazy violent action, like
co-op too. That's always a good selling.
I did play a little co-op. It is stable, easy. That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. Yeah. And your progress carries over. Redfall. Your progress carries over. Period. No, it doesn't matter who's the host. Redfall. That's another thing it's being dunked on for. Yeah. Only the host progresses. If you're in somebody else's game, you're just a passenger.
Well, your character progresses though, right?
No. The story doesn't progress. So it's like.
So if you wanted to go through the game with your friend,
you get your
game
experience.
Does that too. I can't remember what it is, but we had to jump in each other's game to progress it. Might have been Back 4 Blood or something. I can't remember. Might have been something like that.
Yeah, I think I played with Kyle and them, and they were further than me, and I didn't get credit for stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
but my character got
kind of more arcadey. Yeah.
I think it's is it Monster Hunter that's that way? You don't, or maybe you do. I don't remember if you get credit for killing for finishing.
You do. Like
it's frustrating when it's not like that though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
story.
It's nice that like your level stays in all these games, but like sometimes you go for a long session in somebody's game. Yeah. And when you get back to your game, it's really defeating when like your map's not all the way covered up like it was earlier.
Yeah.
I agree.
I totally agree.
It's 2023. We need to figure that out, guys.
For real. We're trying to go to Mars. Come on, what are we doing?
Didn't Gotham Knights? I only played a little bit of co-op. Didn't that allow you to progress both stories?
I thought. I know Kyle and I only did like 1 or 2 sessions, but I thought that I had to go back and play some of my main story stuff.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
You get a prompt on screen that says, "You've already done this. Would you like to skip it?"
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you and I both chose when we were in our game, so it's like we're just going to do those missions over again to get the XP or something.
Yeah, for a 4 out of 10 game, that's a pretty good feature that they have there.
Yeah.
Very 4 out of 10.
Didn't someone turn Spider-Man into the 4 from IGN in a mod?
Yes. Yeah.
And it was just the 4 flopping around in the Spider-Man.
It
was the bank heist mission where Shocker, and it was like the 4 was just swinging around. Don't do the Shocker. It's so stupid.
Oh my gosh, who comes up with this stuff?
I know.
All right.
Lunatics.
My goodness. All right. Well, speaking of standing out, I guess kind of Disney Speedstorm is really the only kart racer that I've seen outside of Mario Kart and Sonic Racing in a while. So Disney Speedstorm is here. It is going to be a free-to-play game, but in something I've never seen before. They have early access to it where you kind of have to buy like one of their paid bundles, I guess, with some content like you would normally have with the free-to-play game for early access. If you don't want to do that, you can wait. It'll be out for free on all.
Sounds like the
later
Disney Dream. What is it? Dreamlight Valley or whatever they did. Yeah, they did like the same thing, right?
I just played that for free on Game Pass, but yeah, they did do that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. So this. I mean, you can look at it and say, hey, this is just a ripoff of Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing. Sure, it's a kart racing game with very cartoony characters and beloved characters you've seen before, courses that you'd recognize from other properties. Like that's what it is. But thankfully, it is a very competent game at its core. And we can talk about the pluses and minuses and all that stuff. Dan, did you play this one at all? Because I know the other three guys did, and I played it. But did you play this one?
No, I don't play baby games. So
okay, Animal Crossing.
He's excited about his Pixel remaster, though.
Jeff goes, okay, Animal Crossing, Pokemon.
hey, listen! How dare you?
You're hitting Kyle on your way to hit Dan.
I'm letting Dan take the ball. Yeah, I'm ducking this one. Yeah, Dan, you and your dumb Pokemon.
And Animal Crossing, I hate.
I was at Pokemon Stadium last week, you loser.
Shut up! Nobody was in the stadium watching me.
All right,
I forgot to give Kyle a heads up. I'm sorry.
I dug.
That was just. Hurt people is what I'm saying.
I actually didn't know. I didn't know that this was early access though. I thought it was going to be like a game that's just out. So
no, the free to play is not coming out to either late 2023 or early 2024.
They haven't given a release date.
So for me personally, because I was interested in the game, like I watched enough videos, I felt the $30 investment was worth the 6+ months of early access.
I think that's
Plus,
fair.
they do give you some decent content. The thing I would say from the top, and if other people want to share their impressions, they can speak over me. I only want to say this. There's a huge difference between this game and like Mario Kart and all the other racers. And it's not really from a mechanical place, although I will say Speedstorm to me is the most fun I've had in a kart racer since like my OG Mario Kart days. And what I like about it the most is that I feel like all the tracks squish you in, and it almost feels like I'm playing a kart racer / burnout game. Especially since I use Donald Duck a lot, and Donald's like special is he has like a bunch of fists coming out of his car, and so all I'm doing is zigzagging over the track and punching all these guys all over the place, and it's actually
it's really cool. Yeah.
It's very fun. But what I wanted to say is that this has a lot of like, of course, it's your microtransaction bullcrap. So far, you can't buy anything with real money aside from your like. If you paid for $30 pass or the 50 or the 70, but I can't go in there and be like, I want to upgrade this character. Oh, I don't have all the stuff I need. How much? $20? Okay, I can't do that. Like you have to earn it in game, and then you can pay for it and then unlock it and do whatever. So everything's in game. There's a bunch of currencies. But what I was gonna say is, what I am hooked on it, and Tim nailed it. He's like, Derek just likes games with services. It is. I like that you give me a bare bones character, and this is where it differentiates from all the other card games, and you go, this is level 1. You can get this character all the way up to level 25, but it's not just a number. They actually get faster, they handle better, their weapons get better. Yes, you unlock a bunch of different things, plus they change the way they look. So it's everything's evolving, just like all these RPG games that I play that I like. So it's the same thing I'm getting here. So that's what I've been doing. I've played over 10 hours, and all I've been doing is unlocking new characters and then leveling them up and trying to get as much currency in all the currencies that I can. So for me, and I would never get mad at, like IGN did a review, and he loved the gameplay. He loved the atmosphere. He loved the levels. He loved the combat. He loved the racing's tight, because you cannot complain about any of that. It's all top-notch, well done.
Feels good.
His only issue was he hated the currencies. He's like, who can understand this? And I didn't sit there and go, hey, I get it. I Googled it. I just went, I get it. I get it. It took me, I played for 10 hours, and I'm still going, oh, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
So if you've played Rocket League anytime recently, or I guess I don't know if Fortnite's in the same camp. Really, like any free to play mobile game that has cash and then gems and then gold bars and then I don't know, cookies or whatever all the different currencies you had to collect are, and some of them some of them you're like, oh, okay, cool, you can earn these by playing the game, and some you're like, why do I never get these? And that's because there's only a store. Like, it has that vibe to it. Like Derek said, they don't have a lot of that stuff open for you to purchase yet. I
think once it's free to play,
absolutely they will.
You're going to be able to buy your way. Sure. But right now,
it gives me a feeling of like, I don't like the menu. Like the racing is good, and the tracks and the music are amazing. Like to me, those are like the highlights. The track designs, the visuals are fantastic. I love the Pirates track and the Mulan Great Wall track especially. I think those are my two favorites, but all of them are super fun. Even like the old school Mickey Mouse Theater one is really creative.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where you break into the black and white world.
So creative. And then cool. But the music's also great. Like while you're driving through Hercules, you can hear like his main song and you can hear the Mulan song, I'll Make a Man Out of You, but it's all like remixed, kind of like funky.
Yeah, that's interesting.
My favorite was the remake of like, are they doing MICKEY
They are. Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So the music, to me, those are like
20s. Good Lord.
Very few games are at that quality of like, man, the tracks are all fun, well designed, like Derek said, very tight. Like you kind of feel like everything's within reach, which is great.
I will say this to make it easier for any of you guys or even listeners. If you have a character, let's say you want to level up Mulan, you go in, you hit edit player, you hit to upgrade. It says you can't upgrade.
Oh, damn. I thought you were going to say you go to upgrader and then you change to a male character because it's obviously going to be better. I thought you were going to make a joke.
It's a transition. No, I'm actually serious.
They made a man out of her. Yeah.
And then
God damn it.
And then it will say like hit this button to see how to upgrade. And it will tell you all the events Mulan's a part of that you can get her stuff to upgrade. Sure. So it's cool. And if you click on it, it takes you right there. So for that stuff,
that's pretty streamlined.
That's when it's streamlined and it's real easy. Is when you realize, oh, if I'm just wanting to focus on Mulan, I just do this, boom, boom, and those are the events I go to. Yeah. I don't need to go through all these looking. Does this have Mulan stuff?
It certainly isn't as nefarious as a lot of games of service that are out there. Like it's not even
Destiny 2 is really bad about it.
Chat that was like the second that I see multiple currencies, I check out and I'm like, boy, that's big Sam on that one.
Mobile game.
I gotta tell you, I don't.
This one I still don't understand what the currencies are in this game.
Yeah, the currencies are killing me. That's a big negative for me personally. It's just my personal experience. But also, I don't mind leveling up in most games, but something about, especially an online racing game where you can have someone who is just ridiculously their character's just higher level than you. I don't like that, and so the idea of them, they just have more speed and handling because they've been playing more, or that
it doesn't do that. Like if you
literally
play
levels
online
up stats, though, is what I'm saying.
I know, but when you go in online, you either are all the same, or they put you in like you either play as a character that's already level 25 or 15, or they take your character. Let's say I'm level 9, and they put you with only level 9. So everybody's the same. It's just you're playing with different characters.
And that's great. The leveling up system is just not my favorite for a kart racer game like this. I like the aesthetic thing. Like Trials Rising did this. They didn't have a ton of currencies. But they would unlock a new box of goodies every time you did like anything in that game. And it'd be like, here's a new hat, here's a new set of wheels, here's a new paint or whatever. Like they would have something unlock every time. This game does that. I love that feeling. It's that little hit of dopamine of like, ooh, I unlocked something. Like that feels good.
Dailies you get on, you get a daily free reward, or I think today, like Derek said,
today was a lot. I was
but the core gameplay never changed, and I feel like when you level up, it's going to in some ways impact the core gameplay. Just for because I do feel like level 1, level 2, level 3, I'm very slow, and I can't do all the powers yet. There's just pieces like that I personally, totally personal opinion. This is not saying it's objectively bad. I just don't like that. Like I want to play a kart racer and just jump in and be able to try all the things and the different characters.
See, that's where we're opposite, because I actually, when I saw that, I was like, this is cool, because I can level up and get better, and I
totally
can
fair
unlock
if you like
this
that.
as long as I work on it, and I like that.
But I also think the gameplay is very good, and like Kyle said, it feels really good. It does. I think it's just because it's so similar to Mario Kart in terms of like even the way it starts and the way you got to like hit the button at the right time to get going, and the way you collect little items to shoot other people. So it's hard for me to separate it from Mario Kart. I just like the way Mario Kart 8 controls so much better. And I've been playing that a lot recently with the new courses that came out. And so the idea of like hopping into a skid, for example, feels more natural. Like there's something about the different elements I just personally like better. But this is about as close as any kart game has gotten for me being like, this is excellent. This is almost as good as Mario Kart for me. So
yeah, and I think for me, I'm not showing up expecting Mario Kart. I'm showing up expecting Disney. So like the IP is selling the game to me. So it's like just it being Disney and like racing with Hercules on a Mulan track or whatever. Like that's the sell for me. Not that it's like close to Mario Kart.
Well, that's like saying you show up to PlayStation All-Stars not expecting any Smash Brothers. Like you're gonna expect some Smash Brothers, even though you're getting PlayStation
I mean,
characters.
I hated that game, so I don't know if I can comment on that one.
Let's all crap on that game for a minute. Yeah,
a lot of people
it's
hated that
impossible
game.
not to compare.
Or, I mean, speaking of Smash Brothers, it's like the WB game that, you know, they're like, oh, you all love WB properties, right? You love all these WB properties. Let's make a Smash Brothers set. And it's like, no.
Yeah, well, I guess my point is it's not that we need to create an absence of comparing. It's more that we all know Mario Kart's the best. It's all about finding something that kind of meets something like that. And I think that the IP good. Specifically kind of pushes it towards whereas like sorry Gaston, like Crash, I don't give a shit about that IP, so I'm not playing that kart racer, you know what I mean? Like sorry buddy. But like, you know, but
I feel the same about
him,
Sonic.
The IP matters. Like for him, so it's like I feel like that IP like push, you know, for Gaston it'd be Crash. For maybe me it's Disney.
I'm the same with Sonic. Like I didn't really care about trying the Sonic game because I just don't care. So that's
I was the same way.
But like when Sonic became like Sega
All-Star Racers, I enjoyed it.
You got a bunch of like Sega characters. You're like, oh, now you can race as Shenmue and the girl from Space Shuttle number 5, and I feel like again like the IP push of that game.
You're right.
Makes it extra fun.
Yeah, my daughter and I played tonight a little bit, just some like local multiplayer matches, and we tried all the different characters that were available. So it was kind of cool being like Jack Sparrow, and then she was Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and then I switched over to Donald Duck, and then she was Mike Wazowski or whatever. Like no, it was Sully, I guess it was Sully that she was. Anyway, so like. That part, you're right, is awesome. Like you see familiar faces, familiar characters. Their celebrations even are unique to them. If you see any of those that you unlock, those are pretty cute.
Yeah, you can unlock new ones too.
Yeah, those are adorable. Cool. And then, I gotta tell you, the courses, they rival about any other course I've seen. Creativity.
Their courses are absolutely amazing.
They're brilliant.
They are pretty good. Yeah, there is something really cool seeing like that again, like those IP, like just in the Mulan world, seeing Mulan stuff and everything like that.
And just even how inventive, not even just with the aesthetics, but like the actual layout of the courses and the multiple routes that you can take. Like every kart game, Mario Kart has it where they have their little shortcuts, but this isn't just shortcuts. This is like. You can go high, left, right, low, like it's all over the place, and always
there's a density to it. Yeah.
Well, when you pick a course, it's like you pick the pirate course, and then underneath that, you guys probably saw this. You've got all these different variations on it. Like so, if you're actually doing like if you're selecting your race, not going through the campaign or chapters or whatever, then it's got I forget how many. There are probably like 6. Yes. And it's varied versions of it. Some of them, and it'll tell you like how long each lap is and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like there's a lot of love and effort put into this.
Last thing I would say about it that I want to say that I like more than Mario Kart is, and I said this before when we talked about Mario Kart, I struggle with Mario Kart because I'm like, how much is it skill and how much is the game goes, you know what, you can win that one. You know what, you're not going to win that one. And so that frustrates me, whereas this game is, to me, it's more skill and your level. So like if you're playing, I'm not talking about multiplayer. So if you're playing single player and it's a level 5 race and you've done some, grinding and you got your car to level 8, your character to level 8, you're going to destroy them. Even if they get all the cool stuff and throw it at you, you're still going to destroy them because you're faster and stuff. I like that. I like that it feels like not a campaign, but like a single player
the chapters are cool.
There's more of a reason to replay things. You know
that's
what I mean?
What I'm saying. Like I grind
maybe it's a fluffy way to do it, but yeah, there's a built-in mechanical way to now play that race again and maybe get a little experience points, level yourself up.
With Mario Kart, if I'm trying to go for a perfect cup run and the game decides, no, you're not gonna win that.
You got blue shelled all match. Yeah.
I gotta now start over because you decided to do that. There's only been and I've done a lot of races. There's only been 4 races where I was like, okay, you cheesed me. That was so cheesy. Like you sent me into a wall and then they didn't shell me, but they hit me with specials 3 times and I'm just stuck in a wall. But other than that, most of the races, if I'm winning, it's because I'm driving good and they're hitting me with stuff too. It's fair, it's balanced, but I'm doing good and they're rewarding me, not at the last minute, you've led this entire race, let's just bombard you with everything. So I like that. I feel like I'm in control of the race, which is preferred.
No one's ever in control.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's a rubber banding effect in Mario Kart games for sure.
Yeah, they need to balance that shit because it's out of control sometimes.
That's part of the problem.
I feel like that's part of the DNA.
They're going,
no, of
no
course,
matter
but-
what, you're always in the race, guys. For your 5-year-old.
I feel like that's
or
actually
whatever.
part of how they try to balance it to keep it
I
from
think
being
so too.
just.
I think it's a DNA.
Because I actually very much disagree. That's totally fine. We disagree on this. I disagree that Mario Kart doesn't require it. I think that if you play against someone who's skilled, it doesn't matter what is thrown at them. They're going to destroy you.
No, that I'm saying
drifting
in
around
general.
corners.
I'm not talking about like
they will still.
I'm not talking like somebody who's actually good versus like an 8-year-old who barely knows how to pick
Or
up
like
the
a 40-year-old.
controller. They're not gonna beat them because they got 5 blue shells and you got 5 coins. Like you're still gonna beat them. But I'm saying like, when you're playing like a single player game, you put it on 150cc or and up basically. Those guys own you. Like they absolutely own you. Yes, there are things you can do, like you can do shortcuts, you can manage your items better. Maybe always be defensive when you know you're in the lead. So there's little things you can do to make you better, to give you more chances to win. But I still think the AI, a lot of times, not always, dictates it in those games.
And I do think that's a personal preference thing, because I think some people would say, hey, that helps to balance it, so it's not a blowout every time. I can see that point of view, but others would say, no, it just makes it so people who are actually better are getting punished. And that's a good point, too. So I can totally see both sides of that argument. I just prefer the Mario Kart way. But there's no right or wrong here. These are both really good kart games.
Really
if you're thinking, if you're like, well, I only like Mario Kart. I've never liked any other karts. Try Disney Speedstorm, especially when it comes free to play. Like, give it a try. It's, in my opinion, it's the best non-Mario Kart kart racer that I've played.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I can't even think of another one.
I almost would have preferred, because I was going to say earlier.
Sonic's the only thing to me that's close. Sonic,
People do like that one.
The first one was so good.
The Chocobo GP or whatever.
Yeah, I never played that.
I never played it because I was like, I'm not buying this, because then when it was close to coming out, they're like, we're gonna have all these DLC packs and all this crap, and it's like, no. For me personally, you talk about DLC packs or whatever with the racing game, I'm like, I'm out. Like, put it all in the game, please. Like, this is a race. It's a little like kart game. Like, I'm not, like.
Yeah. Disney Speedstorm is not for you. Then let me tell you.
But that's the thing, though. It's free to play at least. So it's like I can at least just try the game, and then it's like if I really love it, then it's like, all right, you know what? Fine, you got me.
Well,
but like, that was a $60 game.
You and your wife like Disney stuff, at least some of it, right?
Oh yeah, I mean my wife.
The IP, Kyle was saying, I know Kyle had to step away, but Kyle was right. Like the IP alone and the.
Well, you really pissed him off about your opinion about Mario Kart. He's like, I'm out, dude.
Yeah,
I'm out.
The love and care put into the IP alone is enough. It is worth your at least giving it a whirl.
Yeah, you guys would really like it. I think it's worth the $30 package for sure.
Literally had no idea. Literally had no idea that this was an early access thing. Although it is tricky with her, because like, so yes, the Disney IP, great and all, but like she's not like super into kart races. Like if we play Mario Kart, I'm pretty much beating her every time, and she's just like, well, fuck you. I don't want to play. Like it's.
Ooh, they do have the steer assist like Mario Kart 8 has, and I think 7 added that. And they have acceleration boost. So basically, just some ways that you can, if you're not as good, if you're a younger gamer, like they know their audience is going to skew younger and just include all ages, really. And so they do have those features.
And the question mark stuff, which resembles the little question marks from Mario Kart. The pickups are definitely more varied in Disney Speedstorm, because they expect somebody to eventually pass you. So like, because the AI is not going to be easy all the time where you're lapping them like in Mario Kart on 50cc.
Oh man, they're
going to give you the tools,
chaos.
regardless of if you're first or not. They're going to be like, you could probably use this boost in like the next 5 seconds, because somebody's going to try and pass you. So they're going to give you stuff that will benefit.
They have a shield, which is one of the best items. The shield is awesome.
The shield is great.
Sometimes the game has felt like a bumper car game, because everybody will have their like green shields up or whatever.
Yeah,
and we're just literally doing this off the walls, and it's like 5 cars side by side, just bumping each other, knocking each other. It's really, like I said, I think I described it really well. It's a kart racer combined with Burnout. There are times where you are absolutely seeing, and they do it in slow-mo. It's really well done. When you hit somebody with an item, it'll slow-mo them like flying to the left and right. It's very much like Burnout. It's really well done. Good game.
Very good game. And speaking of DLC, a major expansion came out. Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores. Now this is $20 for this add-on, just like Frozen Wilds, right? Was that what it was called? Frozen Wilds from the first game.
$20? Wow.
So it's $20, and it adds
PS5 only, by the way.
It is only PS5 only. Yes,
suck it.
It adds anywhere from 6 to, I've heard, maybe a little over 10, depending on how in depth you go with exploring, hours worth of content. A nice chunk of map opens up kind of to the south of where you are on the main map, and you can, once you unlock it, it's just a quick mission that's given to you. You can choose to go there, and then you can fast travel back to the main area and keep doing other stuff too. Or like, it makes that pretty simple. You just go to the map and zoom out, and you can kind of go back. Yep. Yeah, just scroll up. So, yeah, Jeff, I'm going to throw this to you first, and then a few others who have played it. Trying to make sure we evenly spread out some of the experiences here, because so far, Dan, we haven't talked about anything that you're currently playing, but I don't think you played this one either.
I haven't played anything, so
busy. Jeff,
busy
thanks
being
for being
an
here,
adult. Hey, busy being an adult and paying off bills and things. So got no monies for games. Final Fantasy.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your bills. No, it's not that.
While he buys that Pixel game that's like $75. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
The Final Fantasy game, because I love Final Fantasy.
Final.
You should already own them. That's the
are you angry about the word pixel? You seem very upset.
Pixels are good.
Very, very angry at your.
You have so many pixels in all your games. All right, so Jeff, tell me about your thoughts on Burning Shores.
Yeah, Burning Shores. I picked it up. I think I started playing it like right when it dropped, and then I had the last few days off. So obviously I finished it, because I was not at work. So what else was I doing other than this? It didn't end up being as long as developers. That's cool.
There it is, there.
I actually do like the physical version of that. That case looks cool.
Yeah, the case is rad.
It's so old they couldn't even give you a PS5 version.
There's the word right there that Derek's really mad about. Derek's really mad about.
Yeah, why didn't you get the PS5 version?
Because there was no PS5 SKU.
It doesn't exist.
What year is it, guys? Come on.
What year is it?
I want that game and 60 frames per second, like PS5,
Dude,
solid state drive loading.
I would have serious issues if those games ran at 30 frames per second. The smoothness of the combat, like seeing it stutter.
Well, there's 6 games, so you get 6 frames per second. So
all right.
So Jeff,
all right, back to Jeff. Burning Shores.
So yeah, I beat it. The developer said it was 8 to 10 hours.
They lied.
Mari Povich determined that was a lie. If you mainline the story, it's 4 to 6 hours.
Jeff, they were expecting you to die a lot. They wanted you to die a lot.
I think that's what it is. If you're on,
they're like the frogs add like 2 to 3 hours.
You're restarting boss fights a lot if you're on normal. That's just the facts of it, because it's very difficult. I lowered it significantly. I even had it on easy when I started, and I was like, you know what? Nope, not in the mood. And I kept using so many of those little blueberry, whatever the hell they are, the healing fruit. I kept using that over and over.
I don't even know how she fights. My character should be literally doing this the entire time.
Yeah, she should just
healing.
So there's some tough frogs apparently. That sounds kind of badass, actually.
Yeah, you start
the frogs are really cool though. Yeah,
they are cool, but they do overwhelm you quickly.
They just start excreting poison everywhere. It's ridiculous.
Well, there are some that are much like all the other machines. There are some that are. I fought a fire one later, and I was like, "Oh, geez, this is worse." Never mind the acid one. Whoops. But yeah, one of the first bosses you fight at the end of the first main mission is you see these frogs, and they spit out drones that can also overwhelm you. But they're like 1 or 2 shot drones, so you can tend to take them out.
They're just annoying because you're focused on the frog.
They're kind of kamikaze. They'll just like jump on you and they'll explode on you.
Yes.
And they're annoying as hell. But they are like, and they're not meant to be looted. You just take them out. You take them out and they explode. Anyway, so that's one of the new enemies. And then there's some more new ones that are like from the, what do they call them? The ancient machines or whatever. And I think you might have seen in the trailer. You've seen in the trailer that there's a giant one that you end up fighting, and I think that was the final boss fight.
Which is insane, because we've seen those like in the world, right? Because they're all just in.
Yeah, because they're all extinct, right?
They're all extinct. So.
Yeah, it's like seeing a monster skeleton in a Star Wars or something. Like something big used to be here.
Jeff, what I want to know is, did you feel like you were playing Avatar the game? Because there's a lot of water in this game, and you're flying around. I felt like I was playing Avatar.
I was above water more often than I was under it. I'll be honest. So I don't really know about that.
So not enough water. Not enough water.
Not enough water to compete with James Cameron's level.
7.8.
Do I have the wrong read on it? It seemed like it was really water focused because like you're driving in a boat, there's islands everywhere. Like your new Pelican can like swim underwater.
It is island oriented, but I just flew everywhere. I didn't really use the skiff all that much.
You're saying your experience was not very water focused. Okay,
you can choose to use the skiff to drive around.
I was like, there's water everywhere.
Yeah, that's because there's like everything. Everything's splintered off an island. So basically, that last chunk of the map from the main game, it's that, but everything's even more segregated by water. Because climate change will cause California to drown first.
But that's not real, Jeffrey. That's not real.
It is.
You sound a little bit like Barack a little bit when you do that. That's Dan's impression of Will Sasso doing Hulk Hogan sounds like Barack Obama. Let the record show that.
A lot of layers there. There's a lot of
very layered impression.
Wasn't even intentional.
but sorry, so you laugh. Okay, but the story ends up being really, really freaking good. Like it's one of those things. Horizon has been doing this pretty consistently in all their stories, where Aloy's just kind of investigating something that feels fishy. It doesn't feel right. Something feels off about this guy. And she spends like hours investigating it. And then when you find out the real motives of the guy, you're like, oh yeah, she should have killed this guy on sight. Like, so it's like that. When you find out the motives of this guy and what he's actually been doing, it's like, wow, this is actually a really good villain. Not a good villain for a full 30-hour experience, but he's still really good for a DLC. And I think it's Sam Witwer does the voice acting, and he's just he's one of the best villain voice actors, like, period. He did Maul most famously in the Star Wars, like Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that. I think he's done some other ones too in the Star Wars world, but
is he Star what is it, Star Killer?
You are right, Dan. He is Star Killer.
Yeah, he is Star Killer.
Nice.
And he's in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. No, don't do that. No, he is. I love that show, and I totally forgot he was in that. So thank you.
He's not in it for super long, but he's in it.
He played Doomsday in Smallville. That's all I remember.
He's really good in The Mist, The Fog, The Mist. Yeah, The Mist.
Days Gone.
So his character in this game reminded me of, and I could have been reading into this, but I put in the chat, I said, I just found a Borderlands, like...
You did say that. I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Oh, he reminds you of Handsome Jack?
So that's his character reminds me of Handsome Jack, but it didn't kick in until you go into his room. This is not at the end of the game, so I'm not spoiling anything.
No, you find his stuff very early on.
Yeah, you're in his room and you walk up to a gun and you examine it, and it says a gift from Jack, and it looks like a Borderlands gun. And I was like, oh.
They had to have done
cool.
that.
Are they trying to say this is like a gift from Handsome Jack? Because this guy's a lot like Handsome Jack. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe Borderlands and Horizon in the same universe. Confirmed. That is confirmed.
But at first you're kind of just like, oh, it's a cult guy. Okay, it's a cult leader. Cool. And we've seen that before in games. So I was just kind of like, okay. But when they get to the extent of what he's actually doing, that leads you to need to stop him from furthering his goals, you're like, okay, yes, we definitely have to get rid of this guy. But that final boss fight is just epic, dude. I don't remember what the final boss fight was in the main game. What was it?
I do.
It was a whole crazy hoop.
I definitely remember it. Yeah.
It's a big story moment.
Everybody storming the
the Avengers Endgame moment.
But then the final is like someone in like a large robot suit, basically.
Like a big
yeah. This one, I felt this one had more this is different. It's a very different boss fight. Don't get me wrong. But this one felt like more of a boss fight straight up, because that one was more like you had several bosses in one level. And this one was like several levels for one boss. So like at one point you're chasing him, and then at one point you're kind of surrounding him and you're taking off heat sinks or whatever. And then at one point you're inside the machine. And like there's several phases to the boss fight. And you guys will just love it. I swear you'll just be wowed by the spectacle of it. It's beautiful. It's more beautiful than ever, this game, by the way, because
the clouds
somehow.
I don't know what this cloud shit is. What is?
I don't either. That's why I'm asking you.
I've never heard this before.
Realistic clouds, Jeff. You missed the realistic.
They are realistic. When I fired it up, my son was actually watching too, because he does think the Horizon games are cool. Although he's found them to be too difficult for him to get super far. Like there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was watching play the opening of it, and as when you're first on that boat with the new character Seika, I think her name is.
Seika, yeah.
And I was just kind of looking. I was just kind of looking around, and I was like, and we both were like, those clouds look real. Like it looks like someone filmed a real sky.
I literally I turned it on, totally didn't even think about looking.
I didn't even think about it either. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe the original game had that too, but it just they jumped out.
No, because I think that was a big thing where they're like, well, their cloud technology is one of the reasons why like this is only on the PS5. You know.
It was so pretty. Like the whole game is so pretty. Like the lighting looks good. Everything. Looks great.
I think we were all defending it. Derek was the one that had graphical issues with the graphics. Let's put it that way. When it launched, and we were all like, no, it looks good. But now I beat the game before they upgraded the visuals. Like they updated it and made it look way freaking better. So this is my first time booting up the game since.
What was that, Jeff? What website did you go to?
I am not saying that Derek was right. I refuse.
Okay, just making sure.
But I went to DerekWasRight.com. I did not go to that website.
No, but I actually fully agree with
plastering all over that. What is this nonsense? I am right. What is this? What are you doing?
You're a Bill Burr fan? You don't know I am right?
It was from the Bill Burr bit where he talks about people arguing. They just go to IamRight.com to confirm something they already believe, and then
yeah. But yeah. So when I booted up, my first thought was, "Holy crap! Look how crisp everything is now." And like the facial animation is even better somehow, and it was already good. But now you can see like Lance Reddick, for example, his face R.I.P. and he's got some great scenes at the beginning and the end. But like you can see some of his facial. He's got like some facial stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
and you can see it now. Like it's very clear, and like their eye behavior, like everything in their facial animation is just like the best it's ever looked. Like it's
so real talk. Like I'm playing it. I'm at the end. I'm at the last mission.
Yeah.
And I'm playing.
Oh, did you beat the park part?
That's where I'm at the very end of it.
Like, okay. Yeah, because that's a very long mission. There's a lot of sneaking around and exploring areas, but that is the second to last mission. Yeah.
Yes. So the entire time I've been playing it, I've just been, and again, keep in mind, I just beat the game a second time like earlier this year.
And G+, right?
The whole time I'm playing it, I'm looking at this game, and you guys know how like that's why you get mad at me. Is like I'm real picky about my graphics. Everything's got to be 8K maxed out. Blah blah blah. I'm looking at this game, and I'm really said this to myself. I'm not just saying it on the podcast. I was like, dude, I don't even know if they ported this game to the PC, my PC, I could make it look better.
Yeah.
Like it's that good looking on the PS5. I'm actually blown away by how good it looks on the PS5. Like you can see the sharpness of everything is extremely well done. The lighting is well done. Yeah. The one of the things I like, and you can see it in the background of my if you're on YouTube watching this photo, look at all the lighting, all the contrast. They absolutely nail it, and it's all over the place in this. It's in the main game, but it's in this DLC as well. They really nail everything. I actually really liked having a lot of water around because I found myself, like Tim always talks about, like Sea of Thieves has the best water. It does. I'm not saying this game has better water. But fly over the water and just watch the waves. Just watch how they organically move and the lighting and everything. It's really
sounds like you're talking about Avatar 2 here, guys.
What's even more impressive is
James Cameron directed this game.
There is a part of the game that James Cameron could have directed where you get a new flying mount that can go underwater.
Yeah.
And there's a part in the mission
that was why I said the joke. Damn it.
That's where you have to go up and then down into the water, and then up and then down to the water. And that is like James Cameron directed this.
I'm like Avatar. I'm playing Avatar. Playing
Avatar.
That's why this looks better. They got that Cameron money. They got the Cameron.
The Cameron money. But to nail those very specific environments when you're in the air and like it's totally seamless, and the lighting and everything changes seamlessly when you're in the air, and then suddenly you're underwater, and the lighting changes complete because it's like neon and lit or whatever.
And it's happening so fast, right?
You're having to process like the physics under the water and everything like that. Like that's pretty impressive that you can dip in and dip out without there being like not a chug or a hiccup or anything like that. Maybe there is one every once in a while, but
on Jimmy's PS5 SSD. You can only do that on Jimmy's.
And maybe you guys
Jimmy's SSD.
And it's not because of teraflops. That's because of love.
Sony, suck my dick.
Maybe you guys can elaborate or tell me I'm wrong.
He's here to tell you you're
Go ahead, Kyle.
No. I love the Jim Ryan bits, but no. But maybe you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. But for the first hour I played of the game,
he's really here.
My problem with the Horizon 2 was like Aloy is always like super standoffish and like bratty. Mm-hmm. I don't need anybody's help. I can do this all on my own or whatever. But like the very first thing that she does in this game is like, hey, I need help. You live here. Can you help me? Show me around.
Yeah, that was her journey in the full main game was like her learning to be like, okay, let's help each other. You know.
Yeah, learning that she needs to lean on her friend, and like it's
even more so in the DLC.
That character growth is like apparent like here.
That's true.
It's already making me less annoyed of her.
She's making like jokes.
I would agree.
She's smiling.
She's
like she's got like this rapport with the new character that like it's clear that she's evolving as a character now, which is like, thank God they. I don't know if
she's really gentle
intentionally written that way, or if the developer.
Well, and I know why. Like, and I know people are probably listening to this and going like, "Well, there's a reason why she's like that." You know, her own people didn't ever accept her.
Gaston.
I get it.
Gaston's doing
I get it. I get it. I get that they're he's the one listening, but I'm sure many people are thinking this. You know, even if they're listening or not.
It's the only one.
But like I think that it's just I don't know. Now I'm stuck on Gaston. I forgot what I was saying. No. There's a reason why there's a reason why she's like that, but like the whole game, like we're spending 40-50 hours, some of us, like with that second game, and a lot of it was her just like popping attitude to everybody.
I think
it's good to see her finally like evolve, even though I feel like it took maybe a little too long.
How far are you into the DLC, Kyle?
Oh, just an hour. I'm not far into it at all.
So maybe I'm not going to spoil it, but as you go through, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, as she interacts with this girl you've already met, so I'm not spoiling that. As she interacts, even when the girl's not around her, Aloy will talk to herself, and she'll start talking about her, and she'll be like, I really, really hope she's not upset with me. Like, stuff like that, where I'm like, oh, she cares about other people. She cares about this girl. So there's a lot of depth with this relationship, and I do agree. Her personality is starting to change.
I think that's why they placed the missions after the main campaign, because she couldn't have had that growth without having that team to command at the end of. Like,
Jimmy wrote that in, though.
Jimmy wrote that.
Now, Dan, you were going to say something about the main game. What were you going to say earlier?
Oh, well, Kyle kind of mentioned how it took a while to get there, maybe almost too long, but
that's fair.
For me, I guess maybe like the perspective is, I don't know how old Aloy is when we get to Forbidden West, but it's like, it's just such a long stretch of time where, she was like basically shunned and she was an outcast and treated super poorly. So like eventually it gets to the point where there's a critical story moment in the game involving a character in the second one where there's that hostile back and forth, right? For obvious reasons, because it's like a weird situation. But then like she kind of has that moment where like a light bulb goes off and it's like, oh, I get it. So I think like almost kind of having that person there like kind of pushed her to go be like kind of push back beyond that wall.
Become a big sister a little bit.
Yeah. And then that's going into this game. You're muted, Kyle, by the way. To go into this game, clearly like starting to open up with more people and kind of be more accepting and kind of be like, all right, well, let me see how this person treats me. Oh, okay, they're actually nice, so let me like reciprocate. And so
that part was impactful too, even though like maybe Dan and I feel maybe that took a little long. Like when it finally got there, like it did mean something, and for it to continue that in this is awesome, because
again, it's also
they could have easily just taken the easy way out and been like, nah, she's still kind of bratty and stuff like that. She's in a new world, she doesn't trust anybody, but she kind of has to now, and I don't know, it just narratively makes sense. And like I was kind of like, that's what I picked up first in that first hour. It was like,
that is where
enjoying Aloy where she's at right now.
That is where open world games can struggle with a strong narrative and strong character development.
Depending on where you're going, right?
I would do some really impactful mainline mission stuff where I could see she's changing and starting to realize, like you guys have all talked about, needing your team, needing to rely on other people. And then she would go and do a side mission with a lot of cutscenes, and she's a total jerk again and doesn't need anybody. And like,
because like maybe the developers thought you were supposed to do that first. You know?
Yes,
even in this
even
one,
though you didn't.
These two girls, when they meet, and I'm talking about Burning Shores now, when they meet, they don't trust each other. But the difference is the writing for Aloy in this is she's not standoffish and annoying. They still realize, even though they don't trust each other, that they still need each other, and that to a certain extent they're using each other, but they're not doing it in an annoying, like, I'm only doing it because I have to. Like, it's not it's not done like it's written better. It's like, hey, I don't know your secrets. Yeah, I don't know your secrets. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I can tell, and they say it multiple times. They'll be like, I know there's more to this story, and you're not telling me. But they kind of just let it rest because they're like, but we have an end goal that we have to get to, so we got to do this. But it's written to me, and you guys know I found her to be out of all of us on this panel, she's the most annoying, and I'm the biggest fan of freaking Horizon. Like, Horizon, the first one is my favorite PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, absolutely. Progressive. But, like, in this, I feel like the writing for her, not one time, and again, I haven't beat it, but not one time I was like, my God, you're such an annoying character. I never did it.
That's
the whole
what
time
I was
I've been like,
y'all were gonna
she's
say
good.
With me bringing that
she's
up.
Good.
I not that I need her to be that way, but I'm really happy that the game again is just continuing.
I'm hoping they'll expand. I'm hoping they'll set it up for the third one where she'll be cool again and
from
be
what
like,
I picked up
I've got a team.
And Jeff and Derek have been really good about not exposing too much, and not to say that this is gonna like springboard into exposing too much, but reviewers and from what I'm picking up from y'all, it feels like this is a pivotal chapter of the story too.
I felt that way by the end of it.
Yeah, and it's teeing up something bigger for like the actual, sequel.
Which is crazy.
Actually
whereas the winter one from the last game kind of felt like extra content, It didn't really spring things forward.
It's perfect that you mentioned that, because there's a prologue after the main mission, after the credits roll. Go do it, because it'll tell you what you're gonna do.
Epilogue at the end.
Yeah, epilogue, prologue, epilogue.
Right?
I was thinking I missed something.
Come on, you write music. Epilogue.
You know what? My head actually went to, like, after you finish the main game, there's some kind of prologue that for Burning Shores, and I'm like, I think I missed whatever you're talking. Okay, all right. You mean like after Burning?
And I mean, that's already. Why did I say prologue in the game? Whatever.
Yeah. And like
you go talk to somebody, and he's like, "Here's our next steps," and I'm like, "Oh, that could be a whole game." Like, so. I think
Avatar 3 confirmed.
So is that attached to what we find out at the end of Forbidden West? Because where we're going with at the end of Forbidden West is pretty wild.
Burning Shores talks a lot about it. At least the beginning. Okay. Talk about it. About why she should go to this place and seek out what's happening here.
Yeah, there's a specific. The villain primarily has intel that they could use.
There's something that they need in order to help with what is developing. At the end
like
of
the hook, the story hook at the beginning, because it starts off pretty simple, where it's like, hey, before we can do anything, we got to get this like giant tower like under control. There's a sense of direction and adventure there that's really nice. Whenever you're getting thrown into a DLC after I haven't played this game in a year, I'm maybe having problems mechanically. I'm not having problems following the story at all, because it feels like a new chapter. And there's a clear and concise thing I need to do before the next big thing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the ease in feels really good. So.
That's as far as I got. Was fought the first big frog, climbed up the tower, defeated that. There's an enemy up there that you encounter, and then there's kind of like a story moment, and that first main mission ends, and that's as far as I got so far. But it is very cool.
It's very short, but it doesn't feel like. It feels like there is a reason this was created more than just, well, we just wanted $20 from you. Like, there's purpose to it. It is setting you up for something good. Like, the example I was going to use is, I feel like Dragon Age Inquisitions had a great ending, right? It left some people feeling like they're.
I wouldn't know. I never played it.
Yeah, I know. And I bought it for you 17 times. But it had a great ending, so it had its closure. But if you go play a certain DLC, it actually ends it better and fills in even more.
Like Mass Effect 3 as well. Mass Effect 3 is the same way.
So what I was saying is, I feel like this is what Burning Shores is doing. It's like, it already had a good ending. Nobody walked away from the second game going, they left too many questions. That was a terrible ending. It just cut off. They're going to try to sell me the ending. They didn't. They gave you an ending, but now they're going, we're going to give you more. And we're actually going to give you something that kind of links you going forward into the third one, which will probably take 3 or 4 years to come out. So I like when they do that. I like when it doesn't feel tacked on. I like when it feels like this was part of the organic story, but it didn't take away from the original game, if that makes sense.
I thought Witcher 3 Blood and Wine did the same thing. It was a totally new area, tons of new characters, Geralt's story from Witcher 3 had already come to a very satisfying conclusion. Like, I loved the way that story wrapped up, but then this was like, it continues and gives you an even better ending for Geralt's kind of overarch.
Yeah, because like the ending for the original game of Witcher 3 is like an ending for kind of like the world story, but the DLC kind of wraps up Geralt's story.
Yes,
story,
agreed.
So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of time, we do have to move on. We'll be talking more about this because I know Jeff has finished it. Derek's almost finished. Kyle and I are pretty early, but we'll be playing it some more over the coming weeks, and we'll share updated thoughts on it. Dan's definitely going to play it at some point.
Jimmy just wants to say you're welcome. He also wants to say you're welcome for the consistent 60 frames per second.
Thank you, Jim.
Whether you're underwater, above water, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
just you're getting it. So you're
welcome. They should have put out a PS4 version
that's like voice.
They should have put out a PS4 version that was 1080p and 20 frames per second, just to like.
Yeah, it's a
Jimmy. Like, this is why you upgrade, guys. All right, this is why you do that.
All right, so
I played it in performance mode, and I was like, "Wait, isn't this supposed to be 1080p and 60 frames or whatever?" But it did not. It looked 4K, but with just way more frames.
Jimmy,
it was really impressive.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome.
You're talking about Horizon?
Yeah.
I played on quality, which is like 40 it's 4K at 40. I think performance is like 1800p at 60.
That's why. Okay, so it's not 1440. Otherwise, it'd be a little blurry on my TV.
Yeah, it's like basically 4K, but it's not fully.
Yeah, not true. Not fully. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's awesome.
Another new game that came out this week. I'm just gonna still going alphabetically, sort of. I'm gonna ignore the word "the" and go with Mageseeker, even though it's the Mageseeker.
Just gonna ignore that word.
A League of Legends story. So listen, we've talked about this already. How League of Legends is something that no one in our crew here is super into League of Legends, unless someone's been lying and they secretly are addicted to it and they're playing it all the time. None of us are currently.
That's Kyle's second surprise for us.
I was gonna say Kyle has another surprise. Guys, I bought Dead Island, and I'm on the rankings for League of Legends. I'm like top 10 in the world.
I'm gonna step out for a quick costume change. I'm not gonna come back to the League shirt. I promise.
I've actually been streaming League of Legends this entire time.
All right, so I'm totally wrong. We got a lot of League fans, but what's cool is that with the Arcane show, and then with the Ruined King RPG that came out. And a couple of other games that they've announced that I'm actually pretty excited for, like the Echo side-scrolling action game looks really cool. I can't wait for that one.
Agreed.
So they're building out this world. I'm very excited about the lore and characters that they're
waiting for that third-person fully open world RPG
like
game.
An Arcane,
I bet you
like in the Arcane.
I think they should do that.
Dude, if it looked like Arcane, I would.
Yeah.
There would be.
That's the one you should do it for.
I agree.
The one you
Man juice everywhere. Man juice.
Okay.
But this is so Mageseeker it doesn't have any characters that I recognize. I'm sure that the main character Silas and some of the other main named characters he encounters. I'm sure they are League characters from the main game. I would assume that people are.
And I assume the town or whatever city that you're in or country, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. I assume that's all familiar to folks who play a lot of League. But to me, this is all brand new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the idea of it being it's called Mageseeker. So there are these people called the Mageseekers who are tracking down all magic users and imprisoning and or killing them. And your character was originally helping them, but then some things happen, and then now your character is in prison, and then it jumps to many years later. You're now a very angry and somehow muscly. I don't know how you got so muscly being chained up, but anyway, somehow super muscly adult, and through a couple different things that happen, you now escape, but your chains, your shackles are still on, and they're now your weapons, and you use them for everything from grappling to stealing magic and casting it to just hitting people with them. Almost God of War style without the blades on the end, because you'll do like attack, and then a big slam with both fists. Kind of
Dude, if he gets to a point where he's
the hump,
if he gets to a point where he finds blades and he attaches them to, it's like, all right, no, that's
yeah.
Well,
so
that's God of War there, bro.
And so the style of it, it's a very smooth and detailed.
What's that for? God damn it!
It sounded like Obama.
It did sound a little Obama-ish. It did sound a little Obama-ish. Yeah.
I think Jimmy needs to be Obama. Whenever Jimmy shows up, he needs to have.
Jimmy's
got
to have like an annoying nerd voice. That's what Jimmy needs to have.
No, you need to be Obama impersonator.
I can't. I'll think of some. All
right, so the visuals are they do have a pixelated look to them, but they're very detailed. Think more like Dead Cells compared to like some of the other old school retro games that have come out. So it's very detailed in its pixelated art style. The animations are super smooth. I think it looks very good. I think the style is very good on this game.
Is this discounted at all, or is it?
No, it's $30. It's a good one that if you're not totally sold on it, or if your plate's full, like most of our plates are full, you could probably wait. I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
This looked like.
Please don't download the terrorist version. All right, we've had enough.
I got it for $15.
Are you the Count from Sesame Street?
What the hell? Everybody's impressions today. What is going on?
I got it for $15.
$1, two.
Dickety dickety died.
All right. So anyway, but the reviews on this are good. I think it's in the mid 80s on Metacritic. So the reviews were kind of made me raise my eyebrows, like interesting. And then Jeff joined our chat and was like, "Guys, this game's amazing. It plays great. Tim, you're gonna love this game."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "All right, that's all I needed to hear," and I just went ahead and bought it. Totally worth it in my opinion. I know it's not a super lengthy game. I've only played for about an hour and a half, maybe, but I'm at 18% complete already.
You and I stopped at the same exact spot.
Okay.
I'm at 18% as well. I did a side mission too, and it still said 18%.
I just recruited a younger character with like a hammer. I'm assuming that's probably where you're at.
I did, yeah. I did that, yeah.
So, but yeah, you also have like this rebel.
I was like, well, I'm 50% in, and there is no character with a hammer, so you're both full of shit. I bought the game.
I bought the game. I made this.
Surprise number 3. I've beaten this game.
Kyle made
You're all wrong. Yeah.
Kyle made the game.
Trash.
Dude, I would love it if the whole episode is just Kyle surprising everyone. All episode.
Beat the game, and that character you mentioned, they're not even in the game. You're full of shit. You didn't buy it.
Move. But I just want to say a couple things about the features that they added. Like when you have characters that join you on your quests, they essentially will power you up in some way. So I have this guy joining. I thought he'd be on the map with me, like fighting.
Yeah, I did too.
But he's not. It just means now if you do a certain combo, his special ice attack will hit when you do this certain combo. And there are other characters that will join you like that as well. And there's lots of elemental stuff going on here too. But
so he's like outside the ring, like just encouraging you, like, you can do it. Come on, man.
There's some no,
you don't even see him.
You don't even see him at all. You don't see or hear that.
You don't even see him. And some of it's very basic. It's like, hey, there's a guy dressed in orange and red, and he will throw fire at you. There's a guy dressed in like light blue and dark blue and silver. Guess what? He's going to throw ice at you. So like some of it's very on the nose in that respect, but it makes it easy because there's so much happening to quickly use your grapple to steal ice magic. And by the way, when you do a steal, you can only use it once. So you can steal from him, then there's a cooldown. You can't just keep stealing over and over and over again. So you steal from him, then you go track down a fire enemy and hit them with the ice, or vice versa. So I do kind of like that mechanic. Feels cool. Like it feels pretty good when you pull that off.
And the steal allows you to permanently learn that spell later at home base whenever you have enough in-game currency for it. Yeah.
Yep, one of the main characters will help you craft new spells, but you can't craft them until you've stolen them at least once. So like there's a bunch that are grayed out until you steal them from an enemy to learn.
And again, it's 90 minutes in, I've already got half the spells, and there's like 6 total. It's not that many.
Yeah.
I think I'll get it. I'll just wait for it to be a little bit cheaper. It didn't draw me in. Not because of the combat. I actually watched some of the combat. I was like, "Ooh, I like that." I really don't like the aesthetics of the game. Like, I don't like the art stuff.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, honestly. It's not my thing, but that doesn't mean that I won't buy it later and play it because it actually looks really interesting. And I'm kind of like Tim, where it's like, I've never been into League, but Arcane was just so good. Now I'm like, I want to be into League of Legends. Not the game. Just give me like characters and give me their story and their universe, and I'm all in on that.
The writing's story, the writing's really good. I really like the writing.
I'll get it.
There's a lot of dialogue between characters that you can have. It's all optional, not all, but a lot of it's optional, but it's pretty good. Like you get backstory, and I think it's very intriguing for me at least.
And when you start with steal is like the first spell that you get, stealing magic from another user and then throwing it back at a weaker enemy to that element or whatever. But when you do learn permanent spells, you can start equipping. I think you can equip 4 at a time.
Yeah.
And I think I have like 5 spells or something like that. Right. That sounds about right.
And you have to pay money to unlock more though, because you start.
The Hammer Kid will help you unlock more skills, not spells. Skills, so you can unlock more magic slots.
Yeah.
And he'll help you with certain art. There's a light RPG element to it, basically.
Yeah. The system works really pretty well. You cast magic, and then you regain that magic by doing physical attacks. So it kind of forces you to mix up your physical combos with magic attacks. So
I got
it works
to
well.
the second boss, which was like a flaming head, just a big giant head.
Doom.
That was flaming, and he'll change colors. He'll change from ice attacks to fire attacks.
Oh.
But I didn't know that going into the fight, so I only was equipped with fire attacks, and I was just running around like an idiot going, I don't know how to fight ice. Like I didn't know how to fight fire. Like I just didn't know how to fight fire. So I let him kill me, and I still haven't gone back yet. But I know that's what I have to do now. I know I have to have ice and fire equipped, so that way I can switch. And you do have mana, but you can build that up by meleeing him. And when he changes elements, you have to equip him with the opposite. You have to fight him with the opposite element. So it's like a trickier boss fight. There's a little more thinking going on than I expected, but it's good.
I will say that the music is also excellent, which I've come to expect now from from League of Legends related products. Both Arcane show, Andrew and King had a really good score as well, and this has really good score so far, at least. Even things like at the beginning, as you're escaping this burning city, and you are kind of, for a bunch of reasons, persona non grata. People are blaming you for everything that's happening. In some ways, that they're not wrong, but anyway, they're saying things to you as you're leaving, and just the way it's written just kind of makes you feel a little bit. I think when a game story can make you feel a little conflicted, like, am I the bad guy? Like what I did was pretty horrible, but what they did to me was also horrible. Like it's really good.
And then there's a cutscene a little bit later on, like an hour in or so, where the leaders of whatever, the oppressive regime, are basically saying, oh, the village people think he killed the king and whatever. Okay, we're going to run with that and just spread that like wildfire, so everybody in the village wants this guy dead.
A little bit of Game of Thrones lie spreading.
Exactly. They're using it as propaganda at this point.
And then the next time you show up next time you show up into a town, you're not out there to kill the villagers, but they all freak out and alert the soldiers as if you're evil, and you're like, I'm trying to help you. So like it's got that vibe to it, which I like that. I think.
Yeah, me too. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm really digging that game. That's one that, since it's not super long, I do plan on playing that some more. It also works great on Steam Deck. I did try it out on the Steam Deck.
Oh, nice. That's kind of perfect for that platform.
I was gonna say that might be that would probably be perfect right there.
Yep, works great on the Steam Deck.
This is on Switch, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on a lot.
Switch and PC.
Yeah, I think it's just those two. Is it on anything else?
I don't think it's on anything
I don't think
else.
So.
Yeah.
It didn't come to consoles? Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think it's just PC.
Not to any real consoles, am I right, Jim Ryan?
Yeah. Jimmy's sleeping.
Okay, sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy is Jimmy's sleeping.
Acquisition.
Jimmy is like, maybe try Google. Maybe try Google.
Yeah, he's making all that money,
He's sleeping. Okay. Here's the thing about Jimmy.
It's interesting. Xbox is
an all right, Obama. It's all right.
I feel like this is the kind of game that will be on like PS4/PS5. I don't know about Xbox though. Like it could come on the Game Pass at some point, but there's something weird with Xbox and pretty notable smaller games like Oxenfree 2 is apparently not coming to Xbox. It's like
Netflix bought that studio, so it'll be on Netflix.
Right, but that's just it seems odd to me that
I know
Xbox is just not getting some of these multi-platform games.
I agree. Look at all the games
because they're kind of the indie, kind of smaller studio pushing.
They have ID at Xbox going on. Like,
so Oxenfree
they started
was like
Summer of Gaming,
exclusive or something like that for a little while on Xbox.
When nobody owned.
I could be wrong. I'm just saying.
I don't remember.
I played it on PC and beat it on PC, so I don't really know. But I do remember when Netflix bought that studio, and it was like, oh, cool, can't wait for them to do nothing. And sure enough, I was right. Oxenfree taking forever to come out. So
sure is.
Hey,
hey guys, even though Xbox doesn't have a lot of these other games, it does have Minecraft Legends, and that's out now.
Yeah,
so,
sure is.
You know what's funny is not only they have that, but they went ahead and released that on all platforms. I understand why, but they're like, no, everyone can have this, and now they're
now you got to bring Jimmy in. What's his take on
this
game? Minecraft. Yeah.
This game is pixelated AF, Derek, and you got nothing to say, huh? You got nothing, huh?
No, I really don't. That's not a game I would ever download.
This is not a game that I think most of us here would spend a ton of time playing. I know that Minecraft itself, as the core game, is very different. That can hook all kinds of people in different ways. Totally get it. But some of their spin-off projects, like Minecraft Dungeons, I thought was very successful. A lot of people loved it.
Now that's a fun game.
Yeah, it is, and so is Minecraft Legends.
Okay.
I think it's in the same vein of like a cool spin-off of a very popular IP.
A fun take on a different genre. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And the genre here I would describe as like the closest game that I've played that's somewhat like it. It's not the same, but what was that Jack Black rock and roll one? Heavy Metal? No.
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend. Yeah,
Brutal Legend.
This is like Brutal Legend? Wow.
No, I get what he's saying, but don't hold your horses there.
No,
but I get what Tim is saying. I actually agree with that. There
because
actually
you do some melee attacking of your own. Like it is an action game, but also you're commanding these little squads of armies.
But you're building stuff too. You know, kind of like Brutal Legends. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some elements there that remind. That's the only game I could think of that kind of had. I think
that's the best parallel, to be honest. I think
there was one called like it was like an Orc Lord game. I forget what that was called. That some people
Overlord.
Overlord? Is it like that?
Yeah, where you have like
Overlord,
little goblins.
Overlord,
like,
it might be kind of like Overlord. I haven't played Overlord.
It kind of feels like that too, actually, because you do control a third-person character, but you have all these minions around you as well, and you're issuing them to do stuff. You know, again, Pikmin-like. You know, like a little more battle-oriented Pikmin. You know,
and you just kind of give them a flag, like gather to me or go to that area and fight all the enemies over there, and then. Over time, I was watching my son play it on Switch. He is loving this game. This is so up his alley. Like he loves this kind of stuff. He loves Minecraft, of course, but Minecraft Dungeon I think he's beat Minecraft Dungeons like 4 times. He loves that game.
Wow.
Like that is his Diablo, where like he can't get enough of the loot.
When's he gonna take your seat on the podcast? That's
soon enough. Soon enough. He's very busy.
Soon enough.
Guys, can we talk about Minecraft? Shut it down, buddy.
Okay?
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Spin-off.
This game has very much a very good Minecraft vibe to it, which is not my personal favorite. Like I don't love the whole blocky world vibe and some of the like lighthearted silliness. It's never clicked with me, but they certainly are nailing the vibe they're going for. So I wouldn't have that as a knock against it. It's more just like
it's a specific style. Like they're
their thing.
It's clever. They've got a nice little set of lore set up for it. Like they even recruit you from a Minecraft world that you are building. Like it's just kind of a cute little way of like bringing a Minecraft character into this world that needs help. And
well,
here's
the story
why.
is literally Lord of the Rings. Like a great evil has awoken a bunch of like piglings, which are orclings, you know, and like they're causing havoc across not Middle Earth, you know. So, but I'm saying that as like a compliment too, because like if you're gonna tell a story, you know,
it'd be hilarious if they did that. Like they were like it's all across Lower Earth.
Well, you do need
actually would be pretty funny.
You do need resources to build stuff, and so you send out these little fairy things. I don't even know what they're called. These to collect wood and to collect stone from different areas, from these different nodes throughout the world. Which, by the way, it does look pretty good. Like all the trees that were showing up, I was like, this again, not my favorite style, but it looks good for the style they're going for.
Yeah.
I think with like Minecraft, like Nvidia always does stuff where they're like, check out the ray tracing in this game. Like they do all this like modern lighting for these games. They make them look really good, even though they're technically using like old like graphic type.
Yeah. It kind of has a Lego movie vibe. If you're trying to
that's
picture what it looks like, it kind of has a Lego movie
all the
vibe.
Lighting, everything's modern for something that looks old.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you collect items and then you use, collect wood and stone and other things. And there's other crystals and stuff you'll collect. You use that to create these little totems where you summon all your little beasties to go do your fighting for you and to join you in fighting. And you do get different mounts as well, which are pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot to like about that type of game. If you are into Minecraft, especially, I do think it skews a little younger, but I think someone in our age bracket could certainly have fun with it if you're a big Minecraft fan. So there you go. And it's on.
I will never play this game, not even if there's a fire.
All right.
Wait, so
I don't know what that means, guys. I really don't.
Someone give Jeff a hug. I think Jeff needs a hug.
Yeah. Somebody put out the fire.
Brothers in a stupid
Somebody put out the fire.
2 games tonight that Jeff is just not sanctioning. He's unsanctioning.
Yeah, he's out. He's out. Yeah, no, I already have it uninstalled. Like it's not something that I will keep playing.
I feel the exact same way. And that's all Jeff was saying earlier was like, I know I'm just gonna play for 30 minutes and turn it off. That's literally what I did.
Why couldn't we have just done that? Why couldn't we have said, hey, Minecraft Legends came out, it's uninstalled, and then we could have moved to the next game. I feel like that's what we could have done.
I don't know. We
could have, but we didn't.
Got to hear a lot about other stuff. But like a lot.
I was joking.
We're at 2 hours. All right, we got to keep moving here. Stray-Blade.
I will
Let's
keep
talk
this
about
quick.
A full hour.
Because
hour.
Unless somebody has secretly bought this game, I think I'm the only one that bought it.
Surprise number 4, guys. I love Stray-Blade.
He
This is why the show's
Stray-Blade.
2 hours, by the way, because of the bits. So
I didn't buy any of these other games.
Like 12 Days of Christmas from Kyle, just for the podcast. It's so good.
Like I platinum already.
Yeah.
Stray-Blade is okay. So the game is like basically it's not open world. It's like open area, a Dark Souls game that looks kind of like Kingdoms of Amalur, like especially with like the aesthetics and even like the armor you unlock and stuff like that. So I really thought I was gonna like this game. I really thought I was gonna love it, and I even watched some gameplay and I was like, yeah, this looks like something I would like. That's where watching and playing is a huge difference, because nothing that I watched made me feel what I was feeling when I was playing, and that is there is a lot of delay. It's extremely slow, and they were trying to like force their mechanics, which it's their game, sure, go ahead and do it. But if you haven't figured out, I'm kind of like over the whole Souls games. I like I'll play them if they're from FromSoft, but I'm not, unless you're something really intriguing right now. I'm not willing to learn your systems, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So with every game coming out, this game first was like, oh, you got to dodge. And I was like, cool. So I dodge around, I'm backstabbing. I'm like, this feels like Souls. I could do this. And then they start doing the whole Sekiro thing where it's like, well, you got to deflect. And the timing is absolutely horrendous. That
like small window, you mean? Or
it's a small window, but it's also like delayed, so they'll like show they're gonna strike, and then it's like,
that sounds gross.
Oh God, I hate that.
There's like a frame there that they.
So I immediately twitch and I hit Y because that's the button, and I hit Y and I go up like this, like I'm gonna deflect, and he's like, I haven't even swung yet, and then he swings and kills me. So I was just
It's like a pump fake with basketball, but it's sword.
I'm like,
so
I'm
mean.
sure I could get the timing down, because they even color code it, so they're not making it hard. They're like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. It's the timing. And I was like, I don't want to do this. That's exactly what I said. I was like, I don't want to do this. I could do this, and I'll probably do it later, but I'm not going to do it right now. So I was like,
I'll probably do it later.
I like Steam because you can buy these games, you tell them you don't like it, and they'll refund it. And that's what I did. I played 30 minutes. I told myself, once this game's cheaper and maybe there's not as much out, I'll give it another shot. Hopefully they'll patch it and maybe kind of like, because there's feedback from gamers that are saying stuff that I'm saying. Hopefully they'll clean it up a little bit, and then I'll buy it back. So I'm not saying it's a terrible game.
What is the time limit on Steam for a return, by the way, since you just did that?
2 hours.
2 hours? Okay. Like it's like playtime. You can play up to
playtime.
Well,
So
I was going to say,
really
actually, the delay in like response for dodging or whatever you call it, countering, whatever. That problem is the same problem I had with Curse of the Sea Rats that came out like a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
It was the same thing where I was like, I'm hitting the button and I have to wait for the animation to put the shield up. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, and then I get obliterated every time. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So if you're like starving for a Souls game, first of all, it's not at that quality.
Then go back and play Elden Ring.
Yeah, go play Elden Ring.
Boom.
But this game, if you really want it, because I do like those type of games. Obviously, I beat Steel Rising, all that stuff. But so you don't have to be at that level. I'm not a snob, but this one definitely is mid-tier. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look that great. I played it on PC, obviously, since I said I bought it from Steam. It's average right now. So if they improve it and they drop it in price, I got it for $28, which I don't think is that bad. If it's ever in the teens, I'll consider buying it.
Point. Yeah. The only like Souls inspired smaller game I ever finished was Ashen. I remember finishing that game.
Oh, that's an
the
interesting
end
game.
of that one.
I always wanted to try that one.
I liked it.
It's challenging, obviously, but it's
tough.
It's
but it was semi-fair, and you could co-op.
I did co-op on the final battle because I tried it like 4 times, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to keep beating my head against the wall, so I co-opted it and was able to finish it that way. All right, last new game, at least that I've got on my list here, and I'll throw it out to you guys if you have any others, was a surprise release this week of Teslagrad II. So the first game came out, I want to say it was on 360 about maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on the system and the year, but it was out a while ago. And kind of a cool little game that uses a lot of electricity and a lot of like magnetism to make your way through these side-scrolling platformy levels. And so I liked it. I never finished that game, but I thought it was pretty creative, pretty cool. As you're this little kid who's getting these upgrades to this technology, kind of in a steampunk-ish Eastern European looking.
Yeah, it's like old Tesla, like old Tesla technology.
Old Tesla.
Yeah, like where they're like discovering electricity and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Prestige, the Tesla from the Prestige.
Oh, I love that movie so much. Okay.
Good movie.
But so then
they
released this one, and they also released Teslagrad. I think I'm saying it right. Teslagrad, remastered, which kind of has a very similar look and feel to the second game. So I played a little bit of both.
They're cheap, by the way.
They are pretty cheap. Yep, and you can get them as a bundle for a couple bucks off. I think the second game. How far are you into it, Jeff? The second game?
Not that long. I'm about the length of a poop into it.
Is that what you were doing while you played it?
So that's what I was doing when I was
those could be varying lengths. I mean, you got to be a little more specific.
Depends on what you had to eat, you know? Like
what's the texture?
It was a post-Chipotle poop. So
I was going to say, is it a Chipotle?
In general, I run a little long, though. Is it, I got to have some time here. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
It might have been 20 minutes.
Is it a little heartier, or is it like kind of like it's just shooting right out of you?
Were you settling in, or was it were you dumping and going?
No, let's talk about the consistency. So
is it with like a fire hydrant? It's like you hit a fire hydrant and it gets knocked over and the water's just shooting.
Well, I ended up getting pulled into this game more than I expected. Cool. Played it for just under 2 hours. I just finished the second boss.
There's a boss?
There are some boss encounters, yeah. So it reminds me a little bit of Celeste on some of the platforming, and it gets challenging quick.
It does.
So if you don't like side-scrolling platformers that get challenging, and even Ori a little bit, but it doesn't have all the combat that Ori has. But I see elements of the Ori games, and a little bit of Celeste. Although I think Celeste is still the best at that kind of really difficult side-scrolling platforming. Celeste is just top notch for that.
Yeah, Celeste is a precision platformer, right? And
there's
some of that in Teslagrad, at least 2. I've only played 2 so far.
Dude, it gets precision fast.
Okay.
And it gets really to the point where, and thankfully the checkpoints are very forgiving. So you get to a new area and there's 3 or 4 obstacles to get through, and you're gonna die a lot. And so thankfully it just respawns you real quick right at the beginning of that little section. You get through that section to start another one that's even tougher. Thankfully in most cases they don't start you all the way back before the one before it. So they seem
my patience tends to vary for those type of games. You never know. Sometimes I'll be in the mood, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it installed and see what happens. But very early on, I got the dash. I got some other ability very early on. I can't remember what it was, but some guy just comes in and drops you an ability, basically.
Yeah, there's some mysterious cloaked dude who's giving you powers and unlocking as you get to certain areas. He gives you these bracelets that, for whatever reason, the bracelets show you the map, and then he'll keep unlocking new sections of the map for you to see what's coming ahead and where to go next. I'm sure that he's gonna. It's a wordless story. They only explain things through pictures and people doing stuff. So there's not really a ton of lore that is told to you, at least. But yeah, the art style I think is pretty cool. I think it looks really good.
Yeah. That stuff looked good to me. Yes, absolutely.
It did look good to me too. A little Viking-ish at times. Some of the buildings you go through and all that stuff.
Not surprising. Not surprising at all. It's like I said with the Norwegian developer. I was like, oh, they're going to do a lot of Nordic crap in this game, and yep, they totally did.
And it totally lands. I think they do a good job with it. So I think it's fun. It's challenging. It's certainly not as precise as I would like it to be for a game that's this challenging. Sometimes I'm I know I hit that timing right, or at least it feels like I did. Celeste, every time I failed in that game, and I failed a lot in Celeste. That game is very difficult, but it was because of me.
So you're saying there's more of a latency between button
latency, or maybe just the design itself is setting it up where there's really only one perfect frame where you can make it through that electric field.
That can be frustrating for sure.
So there's a couple of those moments, but the ability to, there's lots of blues and reds. We see a lot of games like this, but you want to make sure that the charge is opposite of your charge, and so that'll either push you away from a certain charge and give you like a launch, or it'll pull you to it, so you can like walk on the ceiling and stuff like that. So that's kind of the setup.
Yeah. So I did get the walk on the ceiling thing. I did get that far. Yeah. But
well,
no bosses yet for me.
They introduced a slide feature which really gave me Ori vibes, where you use like this electric thing and it looks like railroad tracks, and you slide so fast and you have to use momentum to get to certain areas and then like magnetize to the ceiling and then drop and then slide again. Like it starts to move real quick. So it's impressive, but I can see why people are a little mixed on it from some of the stuff I've read.
This might be one of those games that's like, oh, this is for speedrunners. Like
the challenge is up and down as well.
Like people that are almost like esports people that just do speed runs. Like this is going to be perfect for them. But for normies like us that have other games, we're going to be like, no, this is where I quit. This is where I drop off.
There's not straight up combat, but you do dash through enemies. So there's like these zombie skeleton guys that you dash through, and then you have to do it 3 times. They keep getting stronger every time, but then eventually they'll blow up. And then this big moose boss that I fought, I could not figure out how to beat him. It was taking me forever. I kept dying. I was like, what? He doesn't seem he's getting any weaker. It's because he wasn't. He spawns these little skeletons that you have to kill right at the right timing, so he'll walk near enough that when they explode, they'll do damage to him. You have to make that happen like 4 times. So I'm
already out. You know what? I'm out. I'm done with this game.
It's stuff like that made me go like,
impatient at your description of it. Like...
all right. That's okay. That's not very intuitive. I thought, okay. So it's a pretty solid little game if you really like challenging kind of old school platforms.
Kind of reminds me of a moment I had in Horizon where I was doing the cauldron. They have one new cauldron, by the way, where you can unlock the controls for the giant frogs. And there's a moment where you get like like one of those platforms that you can carry around with you.
Yeah.
And the thing that they introduced in the DLC was the stuff from volcanoes that like shoot up, and if you jump on it and glide, it'll shoot you up. So I was thinking I had to move the box for a minute. I was like, do I have to move the box off this cliff and onto that so like it explodes and it lifts the box up and then I have to jump? I was like doing freaking Einstein math with it when really it was just like, oh no, you missed the bridge. There's a bridge over there. Just go enable it.
It's right there, guy.
Yeah. Hey, right there.
All right, I think, believe it or not, I know that everyone's thinking like, how many new games came out this week? I think that's it for new video games this week, and we'll wrap it up at the end here in a little bit with anything else we're playing, and then maybe some new stuff that we're watching. But
yeah, what a terrible year so far.
Oh my gosh,
so underwhelming.
I mean, like, these are my favorite episodes when there's like a ton of games and a ton of excitement to play.
You know, the next few weeks, it's like a lot of like one singular big game, you know, but
you're right.
It's so interesting that they would throw like a whole bunch, you know, for the most part. I'm pretty right. Yeah.
For the most part.
I don't know why my Hulk Hogan.
I agree with you completely, Kyle. Because I think.
I know. Because that's the facts. I know.
Because it's just factual. But you're right. This week is different because there wasn't.
Next week is pretty massive.
There wasn't like a specific only one big game for this week. There was a lot of like.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
It was a hodgepodge of like
a mixture,
quick grab experiences.
I would say Dead Island 2 is like the AAA title from this week, but that's just like me.
That Kyle stealth
posturing because it's good. You know, like it's you know.
I gotta find really a stealth play that no one thinks I'm playing on the podcast.
Yeah, you're gonna come in next
every
week.
episode. Guys, someone needs to do it now.
Get this.
So
I played Jedi Survivor.
But you have to give weeks of I'm not going to buy that for sure.
I'm not going to buy
it. Yeah, you can't just like stealth play something. Yeah. And there has to be some pageantry.
You have to do it with Dragon Age, just like shock us and be like, wow, I'm halfway through.
By the way, I finished it.
Stick is he has to stick to the fact that he's never going to play it.
Well,
he's just
true. Technically, you guys are all going to be playing Dragon Age Inquisition very soon, aka Star Wars, whatever it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
This call's over.
We are the only podcast that compares those games.
Survivor, right?
0 other people have ever compared those games, and I love it. And by love it, I mean hate it. All right, so
we're so unique here.
Ghostwire Tokyo. Some headlines here. Ghostwire Tokyo is out on Xbox now. It's on Game Pass.
You're welcome.
And
welcome.
I've seen so many bad headlines about this.
It sounds like it doesn't run well at all.
Digital Foundry said, this is their quote, "It is quantifiably worse than the PS5 version, which was already not a great running game." Is
such a colorful language for that. That's amazing.
I was like, quantifiably worse? That's amazing.
Like I can touch it. It's that.
They could have really just said very. It's a lot worse, but no, they're like, no, we're gonna use an extra word.
So
they have metrics and they're bad, is what they're saying.
We have actual science and it sucks.
Wasn't Sony concerned about Call of Duty not running well on the PlayStation 5 in the future?
This isn't being a Bethesda game. This really doesn't bode well. It's another thing that people are worried about with Redfall. Is like, is this game even gonna run well? Because like, look, like Ghostwire Tokyo can't even run well on our hardware. A game came out a year ago, you know.
Yeah,
and didn't run great on.
It didn't run great then
on other consoles. I know, Dan, you finished that game, didn't you? Ghostwire Tokyo?
I did. Yeah, that game.
You have
great vibes.
But did
Good
you have
vibes,
like
I agree.
technical issues with it?
I don't remember really.
No.
I don't remember.
I don't remember a lot of technical issues.
It had a lot of options and
maybe it was more like it wasn't super modern looking or running.
It wasn't modern looking, and like it had like they said vibes. Like the
lighting is great. Like
it wasn't 60 frames. I'll tell you that.
Great, but yeah, there was like a ton of modes. There's literally like 9 modes in that game. I'm talking consoles. I'm not talking PC. But the issues I think with it just didn't play well. It's not very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very bare.
Okay.
It's slow paced. I honestly think it was a 30 frames per second game. Like I don't think like it was very fast paced or fluid or anything like that. It felt like an old generation video game. Good vibes though. Great vibes.
And I think that's just on Xbox. This is not the PC version. That's you can play on Game Pass as well. But yeah, it's just funny with all the drama that's ongoing saga of Xbox and PlayStation. Which, by the way, I'm glad we're back to this because everyone's being too chummy for a couple years there. So this is nice. This is nice that everyone's here.
I like when like
we just need Phil Spencer to like stop being like Mr. Nice Guy and just be like, you know what, Jimmy doesn't like us. I don't like him. He needs to get to that place.
I want him to start saying stuff like we do. Like, you guys played Horizon BS yet? Like, I want him to start saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I actually wanted the two of them to do like an MMA fight. Just have them just like freaking go like full on.
Phil wouldn't do it. Phil would be like, no.
Yeah, I'm Stone.
I'm a gamer. I really appreciate all your IPs. And Jimmy would be like, I don't even know what the fuck's on your console, bro.
Yeah.
I only play PlayStation. I don't know what you're talking about.
There'd be tears coming down his face, but you know.
Jimmy's like, I buy
Jim
Xboxes
Ryan sits down and plays
video
games, or like, let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah, I doubt.
I think it's a no.
He's a businessman, big businessman.
I do believe Phil Spencer actually does.
I do too.
I don't know. I don't know if he's like a hardcore gamer, but I know he plays them. Jimmy, I don't believe for a second he even knows what Uncharted is. It's just like, I don't know.
Know what it is?
Is that our kart
I don't know.
game?
I don't know.
I'm with you. I think Phil Spencer tries almost every game on most consoles. I think Reggie actually did play Nintendo games back in the day.
Yeah.
Nothing else maybe, but Nintendo for sure.
His body was ready. So
yeah,
body was always ready.
Body was always ready.
Bodies will do that for you.
I will not sanction any bad talking about Reggie Fils-Aimé.
I've loved
I'm glad
Reggie.
we're all on the same page with this.
I love Reggie.
Man.
I also some of his gifts are just the best. Where he's like, "What's wrong with you?" Like I love that one. That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
A lot of people hated him, and I never understood. I was like, I like him.
He's
was
great.
he cheesy? Yeah, but I liked him.
But I like when
he had big weird uncle vibes, and I loved it.
When Nintendo started doing pre-recorded E3 stuff with him, it was like, oh, he's funny. Like he actually has.
Yeah.
He's not as
when they made like the Smash Brothers characters, like with him and like Miyamoto, just good stuff.
It was that Muppets.
The Muppet one,
yeah,
really good.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. All right, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 story expansion called Future Redeemed is coming out this coming week. So if you guys need more content to get through,
my brain is sweating thinking about playing that game again.
Great sweat.
I think this is
my calendar and
talk about jumping back into a game with a lot of complex gameplay.
No, I would feel just as lost in that game as I would maybe even more so because oh god,
they're adding more gameplay content too, meaning like they're changing some of the mechanics. And
of course they are.
I'm gonna lose it. I gotta go back and play that game.
They gotta ease you into that. Then they gotta find a way to.
By the way, Dan, you can skip Xenoblades 1 and 2 because 3 and this is gonna tie everything together, so you're good.
So what I'm actually gonna do is skip 3 and just play this DLC. That's what.
Yeah,
Just
that's
the
a
DLC,
great
yeah.
idea. That's a great
That's
idea.
about as out of order as it gets. I love it. But yeah, this is part of the what is it? Was a season pass, some kind of pass.
Yeah, it's the 4th and final wave.
Yeah. So this is not their major expansion that we could expect, like the Golden Country or whatever that one was.
No, I think this is it.
This is it? I thought they were going to create like a big separate expansion. Like
maybe, but I thought this was it. I thought this was their big expansion. I think this is why the expansion pass is $30. Like this is the big portion of it, because all the other waves were like characters and like what is it?
Cosmetics.
Like I'm trying to think of it where it's like wave fighting and stuff like that. It's not like they weren't adding new areas in the game or anything like or stories.
Like
so I think this is the very and I could be wrong. Maybe they are releasing something in a year or something. But I think this is like their big DLC where it's like, hey, this is going to be a large chunk.
Nintendo did have an Indie World presentation this week. There wasn't a lot that I thought was worth highlighting until the second half of it. The first half was stuff that honestly, I don't think anyone even if we tried, any of us would care
indie
about.
For me, brother.
No, Miniko's Night Market. My wife has been excited for that. She's like, "Where the f is that?" For like 2-3 years.
That is from Humble Games.
What game?
Miniko's Night Market. That's that like cat game. Like it just has a really cute art style.
It's I think that's from the Humble Bundle people. Humble Games made that.
Yeah. So she's excited for them.
Some DLC coming out for things like Shovel Knight. Cult of the Lamb has a free update called Relics of the Old Faith. That's going to add a whole bunch of stuff.
That's exciting. Just finished that.
They kind of announced and shadow dropped Teslagrad 2 and Teslagrad Remaster during that, which was cool. Shadows Over Loathing. I never played the other Loathing game. I think it's the sequel to it.
I used to play those games back on like the browser, So
like a Flash based.
These games are so old, Yeah. Kingdoms of Loathing, I think was the original.
Something like that. Yeah.
Excited for my time at Sandrock. I actually liked Portia. My wife and I played that one. Definitely like really wonky though, like some wonky mechanics, and needed some they needed to tighten up the graphics. They needed to tighten up. The graphics.
I played the demo for that, and it was
funny that every
ugly,
game Tim mentioned that we possibly couldn't care about, Dan has highlighted.
Yeah, somebody has to.
And every game that we were excited for, he's
somebody
like,
has to
buy it.
You guys are all a bunch of.
I don't care.
Listen, Dan's picking up all the slack that we're leaving behind us here.
Yeah,
he's I respect boy.
Somebody's got to take care of the little guy,
So Blasphemous 2 was officially announced with a release window of the summer, and I think it's coming to everything, but it was announced.
That's awesome. The first one is so good.
So I didn't get super far in the first one, but it is a cool game. The style of it's cool. But and then Oxenfree 2 finally got a release date of July 12th.
Yeah.
That's now be out. And that is
it'll be on the Netflix app too, guys.
You have to play it on Netflix, brother.
So it's such a weird thing to even say.
I know. It's
like,
so
that's
dumb.
Are they gonna come out with a cool controller like everybody else that failed?
No, your phone. That's your controller. Have fun.
Cool.
I am never gonna play that.
I'll definitely play it on Switch if it's the only console it comes out on.
It'll be on. Sure. No, it's on PlayStation. I saw it announced for.
Cool. Oh, okay, good.
PS4.
But fun fact, you still have to use your phone.
It's not graphically demanding, so it makes sense to do it on Switch, though. Honestly.
But
are you serious about the phone on PlayStation, or is that a joke?
No,
because PlayStation had an exclusive that was phone.
They did, and I played like 5 minutes of it, and I was like, "Oh, this is stupid."
Oh, what am I doing? I remember that. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that wasn't good.
So I didn't know if Netflix was actually going to be that ridiculous.
That would be hilarious.
We'll let you play it, Jimmy. But you got to use our Netflix app, Jimmy, as your controller.
If you open the Netflix app on your phone, there's a game section, and every game you try to play, it'll be on your phone, through your phone. Yeah. Some makeshift controller that pops up on your touch screen or whatever.
So
big old pass to that. But
two other quick games I wanted to say are worth taking a look at if you like music-based games. Rift of the Necrodancer. I know that was the Crypt. Was it Crypt of the Necrodancer?
Yes. Yep.
That was very popular with a lot of folks. It didn't really click for me, the idea of moving in that dungeon to the rhythm. I understood it. I just didn't really love it. But this is different. This is more of a Guitar Hero style with a lane-based combat where if you hit things, if you hit the rhythms correctly, you're going to do attacks. So that looks kind of interesting if you like rhythm games. And then I thought Bomb Rush Cyberpunk looked really cool.
Yeah, that game looks awesome.
Somebody posted it, and I didn't see the name of it, and I thought it was Jet Set Radio. Like
it has that vibe to it, yeah.
Like
very
the
much
design.
so.
Like a darker version of that, but yeah, it looks kind of like that.
They also mentioned Paper Trail, which I played a little bit of the demo of. That's from the people that made Hue in 2016. They make interesting puzzle games.
Yeah.
Not for everybody, but they're very unique.
Yeah. So it definitely delivered on being an indie world presentation. It's very indie focused, but a couple things of note in there. So, enhance
Prime news.
What's that?
No Metroid Prime 4 news. I mean, come on, guys.
At Indie World, come on, guys.
Yeah, they should have. They should have.
Dude, you should have made a post. That would have been really great to read something like that.
I would have loved to see you.
Why was there no Metro Prime at the indie show?
It's gonna be funny when everyone realizes that game's not even real. And
Delay-a-thon just delayed it eternally.
Yeah.
So, well, where is it, guys?
They should not have been like, now in development. Here's the title. Like, that was such a bad idea. I understand that.
It's always a bad idea.
Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Bad idea. Humanity, new game from Enhance, has been dated and it's coming to PlayStation Plus on day one. I think it's in May is when this is coming out. So this is that game where you control this little Shiba Inu dog and are commanding these marching crowds of people through these pathways, basically. I do think it's got VR as an option, but you can just play it on a normal screen as well.
Yeah, I played the demo. It's terrible. Sorry. I really didn't like it.
You don't like that quirky stuff?
No, I do normally, but I just didn't like the gameplay like at all. It just didn't click for me.
Yeah. But that'll be on PS Plus, so there you go, Jimmy. Way to secure that one. All right.
Most anticipated game of 2023.
Kind of a weird thing with
Humanity.
The PC versions of Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes had ray tracing and a couple other options temporarily removed. Capcom says they're going to be updating them and adding them back, but that caused a big old kerfuffle among the PC gaming community.
People be kerfuffling.
Also, it was...
that's why my game's updated. Got it.
Yeah. Also, 3D audio, I guess, was an option that was removed. So, anyway.
Well, they didn't do ray tracing good, so the only thing I can think of is that they're taking it away to fix it and then patch it back in.
You got to get it back into the shop. That's
could be wrong, but they didn't do ray tracing good on any of their Resident
Evil. They're trying to tighten up those graphics.
Yeah, they had to put ray tracing up on the rack and get some
known for just putting out just awful looking graphics.
Absolutely. Just the worst.
I feel like it's unnecessary unless it was breaking people's games. I don't understand.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it was probably something like that.
Okay.
Where the ray tracing was probably taking some brand of card or something like that. If I had to guess. So, but it sounds like to me from what I read, they are trying to fix it so it just works and looks better.
Fix it.
They actually didn't confirm. I agree with you, Kyle. I think that's probably
exactly how PC gamers are.
They didn't confirm whether or not it was on purpose, though. They didn't say we removed it on purpose. So some people think it was actually maybe accidentally removed, and they're going to re-add it. So who knows? Whatever. They're going to be re-adding.
It's IT guys like, you pushed the wrong button. Now you deleted ray tracing. Move.
They're actually what they're doing is they're secretly installing a remake of Resident Evil 6 because it's the only way that anybody's gonna play it is just forcing it into your games.
I actually downloaded Resident Evil 5 and 6 on my PlayStation. I have them on PC, but Resident Evil 5, I don't know if Tim actually tried it. I don't know what was going on with it on PC, but the controls were all jacked up, and I was like, well, let me try it on PlayStation. Man. They're both after playing 4, 2, 3, all these remakes.
Yeah,
I can't go back to them. We gotta
remake these games, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
I can't go back to them. They're really bad. They're really bad.
We're going back to Africa, guys.
Well, if you guys remember, Pokemon Go released the summer of 2016, so we're almost the 7-year anniversary.
Only Dan plays Pokemon.
And Niantic is hoping to have similar success with Monster Hunter Now, which is set to release in September. Offering folks kind of a real world mixed with hunting monsters experience like Pokemon Go. Yeah. But listen, this is a good IP to do this with. I think it makes sense.
I thought Harry Potter.
How much room is there? How much room is there in the market for a lot of these types of games? I wonder.
I know Pokemon Go is still going
something
strong,
unique. But if you
Pokemon's making millions of dollars a month, it's doing fine.
Still,
if you just try to mimic it and you don't add something aside from we're Monster Hunter, you got to do something unique.
Which is, I think, what the Harry Potter one did. Is just it was kind of.
I think what we need to do is less
Yeah, they shut it down after 2 years.
Excuses to go outside. Let's just stay inside. Everyone stay inside.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Or just go outside without a purpose. You know, you don't need
the Pokemon game. It was just like
if I'm gonna go on my walk, I gotta have Pokemon with me. You know, like just walk.
I really did have fun with that game for a little while there. It was a good time, and it also was a quick fix. You could just open up real quick, see if there's any monsters around, catch them, and then close it. Then that's the Pokemon experience, right? They're quick battles. You're trying to capture stuff. It's very kind of family friendly, kid friendly. Monster Hunter is a much more intense thing. We got to really prep for those battles. Like, will these be long battles out in the park of you're like going like this?
I'm just
like picturing it's 2 hours in, and you're like, he keeps rezzing, guys. I don't know.
I'm picturing a bunch of nerds just flipping it in the air, like with some giant dumb cosplay sword, like this Buster sword I have right here. Just doing all sorts of flip moves outside.
Dan just tattled on himself. Yeah.
It's good.
Nerd.
Well, Knuckles TV series has its cast and has begun production in London. Of course, we know
that
Idris
Are you
Elba,
excited, Gaston? Yeah, okay.
Idris Elba is going to be returning as Knuckles, as well as Adam Pally as Officer Wade Whipple. What's a great name?
Wait, there's somebody in that called Wade Whipple?
Yeah, he was in the second movie.
But the most notable guest star that they listed is Rory McCann, who played the Hound from Game of Thrones. I'm like, what is he going to be playing in this Knuckles show?
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Weird.
But Knuckles is happening. Halo veteran Joseph Staten has joined Netflix to make an original AAA game. Speaking of Netflix gaming, so he worked at Microsoft for over 18 years on and off on a variety of Halo games. Most recently, he was the head of creative for Halo Infinite, and now
I was gonna say he got fired, and now he's rehired by Netflix. Got it.
That was a canned response, Tim. I don't know why.
Or something like that. I like that.
I put that in the Google Docs for everybody.
That's pretty fantastic.
In the document, obviously, there was a reply option, and one of the options was just a smiley face, and the other one was or something like that.
It's just like that. You click the phrase, and it'll just put it in there.
Yeah,
or something like
exactly.
that. That's pretty good. Ubisoft did a presentation yesterday, I believe it was, talking about The Division and some of the future for Division 2, their 5th year of content. So they had a roadmap for that, some of those chapters that are going to be coming out over the next several months, as well as they've got a new phase of testing for their mobile looter shooter called The Division Resurgence, and they're hoping that this summer it'll begin launching in beta. And The Division Heartland, which is a free-to-play game that's going to be coming to consoles and PC, and they talked a lot more about that. So if you're interested in hearing about The Division Heartland, there's a lot of details on that.
Man, I really like the first and second one. Not enough to go back and play all the expansions of the second one, obviously, but nothing excites me less than a free-to-play Division game. I'm sorry, I just don't know what it is about. I just get icky vibes from it. I just don't. I'm not into it. I don't know.
What about a free-to-play turn-based strategy game? Would that interest you less?
Even less than that, yes, absolutely.
Wow,
okay. Actually, even more interested.
Those
Fire
are like
Emblem
everywhere,
Heroes
Dan.
What?
Open up your phone; they're literally everywhere.
They're all over the place. Did you guys see
There's an Octopath one too.
Did you guys see the trailer that kind of went viral this past week of Unrecord, this photorealistic?
I did.
Pretty cool.
Body cam.
Pretty freaking cool.
I thought it was fake. True, though. I thought it was fake. I had to look and then even the developer were like, "No, guys, it's not fake. Here's some more footage or whatever." Because everyone was calling it out and
they're still gonna insist, right?
Apparently, it's the power of Unreal, I guess.
So it's stirring up a whole bunch of conversations about lots of different stuff. Obviously, like one of them being the technology in use. Is it real? And the idea of being a developer of a game. And one of the conversations about it is, I don't think this is real. This looks like footage. That's got to be a good feeling. Like if you're making a game and people are arguing whether or not it's real footage or a video game.
Yeah.
So that part's cool. But on the other side, and I agree with this, where there's some red flags going up about all right, if this is this realistic, maybe it from just the body cam of a cop taking down purely bad guys in this video game. Okay. But it just makes you wonder about the other doors that will be opening for stuff people will be creating. Yeah. It's a little scary to think about.
Yeah, there has to be I know that games are always going to go in this direction of being more and more realistic as the technology advanced, but there still has to be a game element, where there's you're aware you're playing a game. If you're playing just a simulator that just looks like real life, I don't know. It's going to be It's going to be harder for people to blur.
Especially
the lines
if it's
are going
like
to blur, basically.
Certain genres, right?
people.
I mean, if it's like a horror game, imagine something like there was actually a small clip I remember when they unveiled Unreal Engine 5 of like somebody at like a train station or a train stop or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was like photoreal, but then like and then like suddenly it got dark. It was like daytime, I think, and then it got dark and like lights were flickering and it was like, this is effing terrifying. Like,
yeah.
So and this looks
just
photorealistic. Like,
yeah,
exactly. So
there has to be some sort of disconnect for all of us to enjoy games like as a game.
Just like with AI technology, there's so much that's interesting and fun and exciting about the possibilities, and scary on the other side of it.
It's as scary as cool for sure.
Yeah,
like
exciting, but then you're like, what could they do bad with it? Lots of bad stuff could happen with this. So
for this one in particular, like when they're outside, it definitely looks real. When he goes inside, I think the thing that I actually thought was the coolest is like I could tell it was a video game once they went inside. There were certain things you could start seeing.
Yeah, you can sense it sometimes. Yeah.
But what blew me away was the actual realistic movements, like the subtle movements of the gun while you're running and the shaking and like
sure.
Like,
where like those encounters are like, okay, now, and this is kind of what Jeff was talking about. Like now, let's say school shooter simulator, like you're actually in it and you can start to feel like
that's terrifying.
Somebody shooting kids, like that type of stuff. Like that's where you're crossing the line. And if you don't think people won't do it, they 100% will do it.
Well, people are already making those games, and there's already a lot of things in place to try and keep them offline. So like at least there's checks and balances there. But like, I mean, it's gonna happen. People are gonna try,
Yeah.
I remember this game called Hatred from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
which is about a guy who just wakes up and starts killing everybody. It doesn't look good at all. It's a kind of a bad looking game, but like just the idea of it, like people are always making those types of games, but like someone always comes through and goes, no, this is spooky. We need to kind of like make sure this is not unlike.
I think this developer maybe played their cards a little wrong. They should have showed this footage to maybe their local police academy, maybe the military, and been like, hey, this is a new training program for you guys, and got millions of dollars for it. Like,
millions of dollars.
Yeah, they would have got.
The Army used to like fund games all the time back in the day.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so they could totally use this for like
get some kind of government contract for stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they might still.
Trump, we are making you a Space Force game. What do you think? Here it is.
Jesus Christ.
We're Space Force aliens.
Oh my God! Hold on.
My Space Force? Yeah, I like it.
The next Mass Effect, Trump is the main character.
No, I'm out.
He's going into space.
You ruined Mass Effect.
There's no way I'm out. There's no way I'm out. I'm totally
ruined all
Could you imagine being in the hub world with him, like picking missions?
He's on the Citadel. He's like,
I only do the best missions. Every mission here, I only do the best mission. I'm not doing that mission.
That blue one over there, I'm gonna nail
I don't
her.
do blue missions. I do red missions. I don't do blue missions.
That's a hot blue alien. I walked in and said, "Wow, that's a hot blue alien."
It looked like real clouds.
I'm gonna grab that blue alien by the. Never mind. You know what the rest of it is.
It's a hologram. It's a hologram. We got the best holograms.
All right, well,
frankly,
we can all agree that this technology should be used to make that squirrel with an Uzi.
How we got Trump in Mass Effect, I have no idea.
I'm excited for that one.
To contradict myself a little bit,
weeds, brother.
I would actually totally take a photorealistic game of like a Star Trek game or something, like a Mass Effect game. Like that would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But because I know that it would be fiction.
I actually like the idea of some of the
fiction.
simulator games I've played, Arcade Paradise and others. Like, give me a game like that in this engine.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, normal life stuff. I'll play that.
Imagine like going through space, like, and that's kind of where I've like in my head thought about with like VR. Like, if we can get to that point where VR looks like this realistic,
deep
and you throw that
exploring,
and you throw that helmet on, it's like it's insane.
Agreed.
I just want to go in a black hole like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar.
Yes,
everything went fine for him.
Yeah, he came out the other side, and then he was like 40, and his daughter was 100. It was totally cool.
It was fine.
Spoilers on that movie, I guess.
It's science. It's science. I mean,
it's science, guys.
It's science.
THQ, they'll still get confused while they're watching it.
THQ Nordic has confirmed they're going to have their annual digital showcase in August, as opposed to trying to hit the E3 window that most companies do. So they'll do their own thing in August, and they've confirmed they're going to talk about titles like Alone in the Dark, which they did announce they're working on a new Alone in the Dark. Yeah. Outcast 2 and Trine 5, which are kind of interesting little co-op platformer fantasy games. So,
nothing I'm interested in, but
and maybe AEW Fight Forever. Will they talk about?
That'd be amazing, but
no,
who knows anymore? That game is AEW. Wait forever, canceled forever.
It is a wall.
So many things. Diablo 4 is getting a final open beta weekend, same weekend that Zelda releases.
Oh, Zelda's coming out. Diablo 4 beta.
Diablo 4. So this is they're kind of dubbing
beta move.
They're dubbing this beta weekend the server slam. So they want to just essentially give players one final weekend in hell, as they say, to experience a fraction of what it has to offer, while also testing the capabilities of servers prior to launch. So totally understand it. It makes sense. The timing does make sense for them. And let's be honest, this is one of the franchises that doesn't have to worry about what else is releasing. It doesn't matter. Like Diablo is Diablo. Right. So they don't have to worry about anything else.
I love unique rewards, dude.
And people who are going to be playing both will play both all weekend. Like they'll play Zelda and they'll play Diablo 4.
Well, actually, I saw a post in the in our group. I don't know if it was Gaston that posted it, but I know he and a couple other people are already Diablo. Like they play multiplayer in the beta. They love it. They love playing together. And they were just so hyped. They probably didn't even consider like, crap, Zelda comes out like the day before or whatever.
Yeah,
like they just didn't.
This is a lot of people's Super Bowl game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Diablo's a big one for a lot of people.
It's huge.
Gaston's more struggling with like, should I do my 5th playthrough of Dead Space remake or play the Diablo beta? I don't know.
Listen, I appreciate the Dead Space love.
Yeah,
Gaston, I still need you to start.
I'm all about it.
I still need you to start moving forward, though. I just need to take your baby steps. Let's start moving forward. Let's play some other games.
He's in the Burning
Shores.
Shores
5 more times, buddy.
He's good.
I hope you play it all the times you want to.
Yep. And I actually don't think he's the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom style, so he might not be worrying about.
I'll see you in Sanctuary, buddy. No, I don't think he's a big Zelda guy, but I know he's a big Diablo guy, so that's super cool. Yeah, and again, the unique rewards, that's super cool to get on and like, at least you're grinding towards something.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So,
speaking of demos, or I guess that was a beta weekend, but sort of previews. Street Fighter 6 demos out now on the PlayStation consoles, and this coming week will be on Xbox and Steam as well. So it'll let you play the beginning of World Tour as well as a few other modes. So World Tour is where you create your own character and explore a series of open world areas and learn moves from Street Fighter warriors. That's kind of cool.
That's rad. That's the reason I would want to get that game, is that campaign mode.
Yeah. So there you go. That demo is available now on PlayStation systems. All right, guys, let's wrap.
Don't get me wrong, though. I don't have time for that. Nobody's going to have time for that demo.
I mean, around when it's releasing, I'm still going to buy it. I'm going to buy the $100 version, but
not that.
It is releasing at a terrible time.
Horrible
time.
Yeah.
They should just bump it back to like
Jeff. You know I'm not paying $100. I'm getting the $100 version. I'm not paying.
Oh, okay. You got to play Habib or
whatever. Got defeated.
There it is.
God damn it.
Good lord.
That sounded like a Street Fighter attack.
Canceled for at least 80 gazillion things I've said on this podcast.
That sounded like the noise that Ryu makes when he does like the spinning a kick.
Canceled.
at gmail.com.
Shoryuken.
Jeff, that's what it sounded like. That's pretty much it.
This show is legit stupid.
Yeah. It really is.
Like the saddest part is I know I'm biased, but I actually think we have a good show. Like, but we only have one fan.
And we love you, buddy.
He's the only one that gets to appreciate. I think
you're right.
Stupid
we have
stuff
a good
like
number
this.
of listeners and viewers, but we only have one fan. I think that is true to say.
Yeah.
Stop.
And that's why we talk to him like he's in the room.
Yeah. He's our sixth,
He's sitting at his computer like, when are they going to invite me on the show? Like, when are they going to invite me?
I got to talk about Crash Rumble.
Listen,
like
the last time,
open
last
door,
time
buddy.
I
You come on
invited,
anytime.
last time I invited Gaston to join something, he burned our ship down in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
So-
that's why Kyle's being nice. That's a hard no for me.
Okay, sorry, we have to screen
Hard
you,
no.
buddy. I'm sorry.
It's a hard no.
Okay, so Dan, I'll throw it to you. Any quick hits you want to tell us about? New stuff you're playing, or old stuff you're playing, or anything?
I will continue to reiterate that Derek absolutely 1000% did not beat the game.
I already beat it.
Because I actually didn't beat the game either, apparently.
What game?
Goodness.
Octopath Traveler 2.
Okay.
So there is a secret 9th mission where all 8 come together and.
So yeah, you do. So you do the cross pass chapters, and there's 2 halves of those. And then when you finish all of those, because I had 3 to do remaining, so I was like, oh, I'll do those, whatever. And then there was like this unique emblem that popped up on the map, and I was like, oh shit, like so there's more here. And yeah, it's a more combined experience, which is actually, and this is like what the whole game should have been like here and there, is like they're at a campfire and they're all actually interacting with each other, and it's voice acted.
That's what I wanted.
Amazing. But it ties into like the whole, like, yeah, and a lot of it, the Temino storyline touches on it, and Oswald, and I forget one of the other ones it touches on a bit more than some of the other characters. But there's like this whole kind of like through line of like this overarching like concept of like night and day, but then there's like this other thing, and like the 6 elements, but then there's like a 7th thing. So I'm like fighting basically the actual final boss now.
Oh wow, so they really did do that. That's pretty cool.
And it's freaking hard. it's freaking hard. And my characters are, that's what she said. My main
characters
part,
are? She said that your characters are?
Yes. My characters are all.
Man, that joke's 2022. We moved on. Taking baby steps. We're moving on.
Correct. Average about level 70, and and it's a struggle because, and I'm not even gonna say, because like it kind of ruins it's strictly an element unique to this fight, so I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's a struggle because
we're never gonna get there. None of us are.
Trust that.
I mean, do you guys care then? Care?
No, don't spoil it. I don't
spoil it. Yeah, no. I might
because
have
like
to
I am.
But Tim is right deep down. If I'm
I am gonna try though. Like I know me. I get in like these rhythms where I'm like, I want to go back to Octopath, and I'll play another 20 hours.
Yeah. Oh, so you're admitting that you didn't finish it yet?
I beat the game. I'm just gonna go back and play it for nostalgic reasons.
What I'll say to you, Derek, is make sure you have a pretty evenly leveled all of the characters.
Well, that was my issue, and I clearly the game was trying to teach me a lesson I was not willing to learn, and that is, Derek, just because you hate these characters, you can't ignore them because you need them in some of the boss battles.
Yeah. So make sure they're all evenly leveled. I'll say that. So, but it's
okay. I agree.
It's epic as hell, though. It's very epic. So.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dan? Before we
no.
Okay, that's the main one. Kyle, what's anything else outside of what we've talked about a bunch of games, but anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Man, I forgot. No.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. No.
I tried the demo for Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine.
Wow.
Say what now?
We're just making
hit stop.
I played Rainbow Fire.
I gave up my spot so we could move on, and
but
Tim's over here making up video games.
Did you guys ever play? Did you guys ever play Super Meat Boy?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Dr. Fetus is the villain from the Super Meat Boy games.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so this is a Dr. Mario style of game, but it adds in the crazy Meat Boy violence of like chopping things up. So you're trying to do this. It's a puzzle game. But then they start to have these giant buzzsaws come in to destroy the things you're matching up. It's ridiculous, and it's very
just
bloody.
The title reveal is just the best.
Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine.
That sounds great.
It's so dumb.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh. I think it's like a bunch of failed clones. He's trying to clone Meat Boy or something like that. I'm not sure what's happening, but they're all just like these little terrified little globs of meat that you're stacking together. They're all like nervous, and then they get all chopped up. It's really messed up, but it's funny.
Actually, Tim, can I just throw in real quick? I forgot to mention, I watched Jurassic Park Dominion, guys.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
okay, thanks. Move
This
on.
dinosaur movie of all time.
Did you like it?
You mean Jurassic World, right?
Jurassic World Dominion or whatever.
Get it right, man. Because
Dominion.
Did you hate it?
No, I did not hate it. No.
Oh, okay.
You should.
I haven't seen it because I refuse.
Best dinosaur film ever. Best
dinosaurs starring Locust.
You're not taking this seriously.
Yeah, I don't know what to think.
You can continue.
2 quick documentary shows I recommend for Netflix if you're in that kind of mode. I thought Emergency NYC was really well made, kind of medical documentary show where they follow actual nurses and surgeons and paramedics and Sky Health people. It's just, my wife and I watched through all of it. I thought it was really well made and very compelling. All those people need to be paid more than most of us with the work that they do. It's crazy.
Real heroes.
So, but for real, I loved it. I thought it was filmed beautifully and edited wonderfully, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
I watched the first episode and I was like, I can't watch something like this. Like I just can't.
It's a lot. They show a lot of surgeries. It's the real thing.
It is.
But it's really good. And then
Unreal 5.
And then Earthstorm, I think, is a really cool. If you like the natural disaster type documentary stuff, I thought Earthstorm was a really cool one.
Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
I'll check that out. I love
the one on tornadoes.
On
I thought
their
was the
phone app.
Tornadoes. I thought was their best one, but I thought the volcano one was also pretty.
Okay, so it's about like the history of natural disasters, and each episode's about a specific
Each episode's
type.
one, yeah. It'll go to like earthquakes, and then it'll go to hurricanes. And,
yeah, I'm into that.
Kind of a missed opportunity there. They could have called it "Welcome to Earthstone." Welcome to
All
Earthstone.
right.
I like that joke. I'm into that one.
Do you know if what that German guy did that show? The guy who always talks like this in his what's his name? He did the volcano documentary.
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. Yes. Yeah. I guess he was in Star Wars too.
I want to see the baby.
Oh my gosh,
that guy. Yeah.
Let me see.
He
the
loves
young
doing
one.
natural disaster or whatever type documentaries and narrating over it, and it's like the volcano's going to explode.
Yeah. He's got a particular voice.
It's so weird.
All right,
Sorry.
Jeff, what are your quick hits?
I played some Dead Cells, didn't play a lot of it, and I wanted to hear what the hype was about with the combat, and I feel like I got it. Like I feel like I understood why.
Very good.
I'll definitely want to revisit it. It's just it got busy, obviously. Gaming wise, that was awesome. I died a lot, obviously, but I didn't play very long.
Sure.
So speaking of dying a lot, I tried the first Final Fantasy just for kicks.
Oh,
Wow.
And obviously there's no like actual like direction. It's just like,
oh yeah.
hey, the princess is kidnapped, and if you want to just walk around and see what happens.
It's
and
like the first Zelda. You're like, what am I
just
doing?
started dying immediately because I was automatically fighting over leveled enemies. And so basically you have to refer to a guide. It's
the origin of the concept of the four warriors are light and crystal.
There was another Final Fantasy Origins that was way better.
Oh,
no,
that doesn't exist. We don't talk about
it.
Literally, I'm gonna somehow pass a law for anyone to stop talking about that game.
I don't.
Right?
Man, I cannot wait till it goes down to $10 so I can buy it and prove you wrong.
For $10, by all means, buddy, go for it.
Real chaos.
Well, I think this kind of convinced me to take y'all's advice and just go to whatever the first Final Fantasy is that has the best story.
Sure.
Whichever the first one you regard as having it. I think you said 3 or 4 is like
4 and 6 are
whoever you pick.
Popular ones
Yeah, 4
of the
and 6
classics.
seems to be most people.
5 is actually very good though. 5 a lot of people don't get.
6 really 3 though?
Well, so when it came out here, because we didn't get all
Super
6 of them
Nintendo
here in the
version was
States.
3.
Yeah. So it was labeled
6
as
was
3
6.
here, but it was 6.
wow.
So I got 3 way later, and now
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where
All
you
right,
could have said
that's not
something
confusing at all.
racist about
So,
Japanese
because-
people, Jeff. They're ridiculous.
Over here in the
we
US,
we got 6, but it's really 3.
over here in the
and we
US, we
got
weren't
3,
getting
and
all the
it's
Final
really-
Fantasy games, and so they just did them in order as they were released over here. So
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 2 on a Super Nintendo in the USA was actually, I think, 5, and then Final Fantasy.
That
I
was
think it was
4. It was 4.
So they skipped 5
Yeah,
over
we
here.
never got 5 here. Yeah,
Okay, so that was
until
4,
eventually.
and then 3 was actually Japanese and
Interesting.
6. And it wasn't until much later, the Anthology, I think, on PS1 or PS2, one of those, we started to get the original.
Jimmy fixed it. Got it.
Jimmy
He
took
was
care
like,
of it for
You're
us.
welcome.
Put
You're
on his
welcome.
gloves. He's like, let me fix the numbers real quick. Got it.
Jeff, I really do think you'd
Well,
enjoy the story of 6 the most.
Yeah, I
Like,
want to go
I
into
do,
ones
I do.
that have like the stories that everybody keeps talking about. Like I want to experience those a little
I
more.
feel like 6 is pretty I know it's silly to say because it's obviously the oldest of the Pixel ones, but it's pretty streamlined too to
Well,
go back to and like
it is.
kind of there's a
I
direction
still have the
to it
3D
and stuff like
version
that.
actually. I bought
So
5 and 6. I have the original like 3D versions or whatever, or not the original. But
Yeah, but the
I have the
mechanics
3D
don't change at all. Like they didn't change anything there. So like what I'm saying is it feels the most modern, to kind of play, even though obviously that makes sense because it's the most newest. But like
Yeah, of
I
course.
have an easier time going back and playing that one than I do 4. You know what
No,
I mean?
3
Really?
was actually the 3D version of actual 3. So the numbers are now totally
Yeah.
correct. The Super Nintendo numbers are out the window. So like the 3D version of Final Fantasy 3 is actually the Japanese 3. It's not 6. Whatever. I'm confusing myself now.
I would say
So
give.
there was no 3D version of 6 is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would say give both.
Kill the chaos. That was what he was talking about.
No,
Kill
there's no
chaos.
Get your
The
goddamn-
numbers are all screwed up. It's chaos. Kill it.
None of them are final.
Chaos.
Can we talk about that? None of these fantasies are final.
So
Individual
movie wise, I saw an awesome thriller called How to Blow Up a Pipeline, and it's literally what it sounds like. It's about these like mostly people my age and younger from all over the country coming together to blow up a pipeline in somewhere in Texas to shake the economy. And the movie doesn't flat out say these are our heroes for blowing up property. They actually wrestle with that subject quite a bit in the movie. It's really freaking good. I don't think it stars anybody that, I mean, you'll recognize some faces, but I don't think you'll recognize any of the names. But anyway, that was good. And then I saw Suzume, which is a new anime movie by the guy who did Your Name and Weathering with You. And I like those other two movies way more than this one.
Really?
This one, I feel like I was the only one that left kind of cold with this movie. Like everybody else was just like glowing about it, including some people in our group.
Flaherty talked about or whatever?
Yeah, he loved
it.
Okay, I'm remembering the initial teaser where there's like a door or something, and there's like a lot of water and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, there's some really cool concept. I mean, as there almost always is with these really ambitious anime movies nowadays, there's some really cool concepts in there. It's just they just did not bother explaining certain things in the story that Your Name and Weathering with You did. Like, I just felt they established characters' motives way better in those other two movies. And in this one, some characters just change on a dime. They'll just be like, "Oh, I'm on your side now," and you're like, "Since when?" Like, it just didn't make sense. Like,
sounds like anime bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just basically just cause it's anime. Shut up, f you, watch it. That's basically.
But it looks beautiful though.
It's very pretty, very pretty. That's why I couldn't really give it a negative score or anything on Letterboxd, because it was like, this is so pretty and the score is great. The story, it's got its heart in the right place. If it was like purposely trying to be bad or something, sure, I'd give it a lesser score. But I left a little disappointed, and I didn't do what Derek does. I didn't put my expectations, I didn't check them. I was so hyped because I love those other two movies so much.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
But oh well, that's all I got for now. And I'll mention some new movies that just came out this week as a preview for Current Cinema, because there's a lot.
Derek, outside of what we talked about, any other quick hit stuff you want to mention?
Just Persona 5. I'm like, Persona 5 Royal. I'm about 17 hours in. I'm still playing that. It's gonna slow down now that the new games are coming out, but yeah, I'm gonna beat that game. I really do love it. I'm now like a fanboy.
You got about 200 hours in front of you, so
you got this, buddy.
In 2025,
I wish you the best.
We'll celebrate you.
I will celebrate it in 2025. I appreciate that.
All right, and without going too in depth on it, of course, we won't spoil anything. Any overall thoughts on this recent season of Mandalorian and how the finale wrapped up? What do you guys think in general?
I did not finish it.
Okay,
I finished it, and I know Kyle did.
Yeah, finale felt final. It felt like the end of a story. That's for sure.
It did. It was very much the end of the story that they set up.
Is this the end of Mandalorian?
No, the season 4 is already written, and there's a movie, so no. But that's what is so weird about it. It's like, this felt like it's over.
It really did. Yeah, it felt like the final shot was like, I guess they're done with this story completely.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna keep going until they die, I guess. But yeah,
it's good. Like it's an up and down season for sure. So
okay.
So not the strongest one.
I don't know. That depends on who you ask, but I feel like the focus of the other two seasons lent for better pacing, whereas this one was trying to expand out and do so much world building, and I think it just lost a lot of people. So I think people prefer a more direct
focus,
story or focus.
I think I mentioned that. I alluded to that to Kyle, or not to just Kyle, but in the chat where I was like, I don't know, the season just isn't clicking with me as well as it did the last 2 years, but I still like it. I'm not coming away from it going, I was disappointed. I still enjoyed my time with it.
Star Wars, bro, you either love it or you hate it. There's no
really interesting ways. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's always some world building that happens in every episode.
Well, Lizzo was in it, so it's all ruined and terrible. So
was she really? I haven't gotten to her yet, so that's great.
Yeah, she and another actor that we actually all love show up in a scene together.
Yeah, I've seen that image, even though I wasn't ready to see it yet. But yeah, I have seen.
Yep.
All right, and then anything else? Jeff, you said you wanted to preview Current Cinema before we wrap up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Current
Cinema. Make sure you guys check out Current Cinema podcast. By the way, go check it out.
We have a lot of work to do this coming episode.
A lot of work.
They are just like in gaming. There's a ton of new movies coming out. I didn't write them all on the show notes, but I wanted to mention. Okay, so all the ones that I already mentioned, Suzume and how to blow up a pipeline or whatever. We have this new movie Quasi, which is a Quasimodo story done by the Broken Lizard guys who did Beer Fest and Super Troopers.
Interesting.
We're going to be talking about Evil Dead Rise, which I loved. It's a great entry into that franchise. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which has been getting crazy good reviews.
That movie looks great. The trailer really got me interested.
Yeah, I'm super intrigued. Jake Gyllenhaal's in that one.
Yeah.
There's a new movie about some black violinist in the Marie Antoinette age called Chevalier, and I want to see it. It's got good reviews. And then there's a new Ray Romano movie that he wrote, directed, and starred in called Somewhere in Queens. Again, great reviews. Stop reviewing movies so positively so I can stay the F home. I'm just saying. And sure. I'm dying to eventually see the Joaquin Phoenix Beau is Afraid movie because I feel like it's up my alley. But hearing it's 3 hours and it's about anxiety kind of makes me want to stay home.
Sure.
So I'm excited on like some level. I'm more excited than not, but it's just stop making long movies as well. Like I just can't. Hollywood is just dead set on just.
We need.
I just want to say real quick, I am gonna go see Sisu.
I'm seeing
5 days from now.
Yeah,
I'm seeing it Thursday night, so I'm excited about that. I'll talk about that on next week's show.
That movie's been getting crazy good reviews too. Like I follow some people that have already seen it, and they gave it like the same rating that they gave John Wick 4. They were just
aren't they saying this is like John Wick meets
great.
Mad Max? Isn't that the description people are saying?
He's killing Nazis too. Like this is a very specific like era.
World War II, like John Wick, like.
Yeah, pretty much. But it is Mad Max. He's like a drifter who's like a goat farmer.
Right.
Or something like that.
I've seen. I think they even advertised it that way. I think they actually.
Somebody from Wick has something to do.
Yeah, it's like the producers or executive producers behind Wick. Like they knew looking at the project. They were like, okay, this has got to be.
Someone made eye contact with Keanu Reeves at one point and got his power.
Yeah.
To make this movie. That's what the connection.
He's like, yeah, but in Danish, whatever they say.
Yeah.
Wow. We just got canceled by a bunch of countries.
I just always picture the guy who's got the little shop in the mountains in the movie Frozen, and he's up there selling stuff. I don't know if you got for that cartoon. That's what I picture. Anyway,
that makes sense.
There's actually, I forgot about the movie. And this is probably because it's a forgettable movie, but we're not going to cover it because I'm not going to watch it, and I don't know if Kyle's going to watch it. I'm not interested in watching it, but it's a movie called Ghosted with Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. It's reviewing horribly, and the movie, just trailer-wise, looks generic AF.
Ugliest people in Hollywood.
I don't believe that they like each other for a second.
Yeah. That's one of the things I heard about the negative reviews is like their chemistry is somehow absent. What happened? Like they had chemistry in Knives Out, and then they just abandoned it. Like it's just weird.
Yeah.
But it came out. It's on Apple TV. Whatever. If you want to watch it.
If you're gonna turn on Apple TV, please turn on Ted Lasso. Don't turn on.
Yeah, just watch that.
Yeah, go watch like Tetris. Like, there's lots of other options there for you. You know?
Oh, I caught up on Barry, so I'm.
Nice.
It's a good show.
Same.
Yeah.
It's season 4 is now out, so I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
waiting. I'm gonna watch it every week. So like this Sunday, I'll watch.
It's fun to watch week to week. Yeah,
that's a good week to week.
Each episode feels like a movie, kind of. It's really cool.
Oh, Barry.
But it's nice that it's coming to an end.
Barry.
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 Seriously, there's a lot.
You said that like the Barry from Resident Evil. Oh, Barry.
Barry.
Jill,
sandwich.
Take this and make me a sandwich, you bitch.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
That is in the original Resident Evil.
We made it through our first big wave of spring games. We know we've got a busy couple weeks in front of us. Of course, Star Wars is coming out this coming week. We'll be talking about that for sure. Possibly even Strayed Lights.
No Dragon Age jokes. Can we just say it now? No Dragon Age
Last Case of
jokes.
Benedict Fox is going to be on Game Pass, so we're going to check that one out.
I'll be playing the crap out of all those indies.
So, but not as many as this time, but there's still some interest for some of the other games that are coming out. So looking forward to it. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.